Yeah.
The beginning when you're trying to make a good first impression, and the end when your job is on the line and you're, whatever you are battling for, whether it's a starting job, whether it's a new contract, or whether it's just a spot on the team is on the line.
It is, and you're exactly right. But that last week is probably one of the most nerve-wracking for those young guys, though, especially the undrafted free agent types that are, vying for a position.
Sure.
Late round draft picks, guys that really hadn't played a whole lot. But to your point, great start. If you have the joint practices, it does break the monotony of practice. It does give you a better measuring stick where you are. And I feel like for some guys, you will feel that you'll feel that, this perspective that I do belong in this league if I am competing against guys. Like, that was my biggest thing, was seeing that I competed well against, at that time, Kyle Williams, you know what I'm saying, from Buffalo, who was a stud. And just watching the young guys fight in practice. Like, coaches dog fighting, but in those type of situations, you better show something, Will.
Right.
Because like you said, it is exciting. It is one of those, all right, now is my time to show and prove how we're going to go about this practice, and this is my true measuring stick aside from being in the game. Because a lot of coaches balance practice a whole lot higher than they do in the games because they know that level of consistency and they trust it. I know you can speak on this too a little bit, Will. Dobbs wasn't the best practice quarterback at UT.
Right. Yeah, that was the story at the time.
At least it was a story. So, definitely get more into that. It's something that's always interesting to me. Like, why do you always judge practice reps?
Yeah.
And coaches are just finicky, though, with practice time, too.
Right.
Like, oh, you're messing up my drill. Like, Coach, I'm just not the practice type guy. Is that acceptable, though?
Right. Let's get into that after the break because I want to run through my observations from the practice field yesterday. We'll hear from Mike Vrabel and what he had to say about Traylon Burks and give you the details on his availability after a really good start to the day and then an injury that forced him off for the rest of practice. Run through the lineup for you here real quick here on this Thursday. Jason Swain joins us at 7:20. We're 2 weeks away from week one in Neyland Stadium. Very, very exciting. Coach Dave McGinnis at 9 a.m. Lots to discuss around the world of college football. Tennessee Titans and Tampa Bay Buccaneers joint practices. We'll do more of that next right here, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, if you are noticing doors and windows sticking or cracks in your bricks or bowing basement wall, maybe the chimney's leaning, you got all sorts of things like that going on, or you have one of those things happening, but you're really not sure what's happening. Like, what's exactly going on here? Those are signs of possible foundation issues with your home. And when you have issues like that, you need somebody that you can trust to tell you what's happening, that can look at it with an expert eye, that can give you an honest assessment. And by honest, I mean not finding a reason, but actually looking for what needs to be done. And that's what United Structural Systems does. They come out, they give you a detail-free estimate. They take the stress out of home repair. There's no down payment. Financing is available. You got a lifetime warranty. At USS, you've got transferable warranties. Repairs are guaranteed for the lifetime of your home. They are problem solvers. They come out, they customize solutions for you. They're locally owned, so they have time for that. They come out, they tell you exactly what's going on. You don't pay a dime until that work's done. Again, no down payments. Over 23,000 satisfied customers in counting can tell you this is a good call to place. It's 615-227-2275. These aren't problems you can just solve on your own. There's a lot of DIY projects out there. You can repair a step or something like that. But foundation issues, you got to have the equipment, the know-how, all of that. And that's USS in a nutshell. 615-227-2275. Great people over there. 227-2275 or online at USSTN.com. United Structural Systems.
One day down, I want to go for Titans and Bucs joint practices, and today we will see if a certain first-round pick is back on the field. Welcome back to 104.5 The Zone alongside Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer this morning. Not a great day for Caleb Farley, and not a great day for Traylon Burks because after a one-handed catch and a 50-yard touchdown catch from Ryan Tannehill, his day ended yesterday. As the Titans offense looked better, but the Titans' young second-year corner did not have his best day, according to Mike Vrabel. Ramon Foster, how worried are you that Traylon Burks was not present for the end of practice yesterday? That's what I want to get into here.
He's number one guy, big receiver too. I think that's a portion of him that we haven't really spoke about a lot. Is he's a big kid. Adjusting to the weight loss, adjusting to the day-to-day going of practice, adjusting to the strain of what it means to actually perform at that position, man. It's all part of it. Bigger guys like him kind of need, a little bit more time to figure themselves out. What do we usually say about kids that are like, man, his body's grown too fast? Like with him adjusting to this, the physicality of it is something that he's got to get acclimated to fast. Injuries happen. As long as it's not a tendon, as long as it's not a situation in which it takes him off the field for a very long time. To my understanding, he walked off. It was fine, just didn't finish it. I've known coaches be like, I've seen enough. Okay, like just package him up, take him on inside. Coaches will tell you, and they'll never let fans know this either. But the goal is to see your talent in camp and get them to the regular season.
Sure.
I don't personally take it overly serious about him missing days or having a ding or like next year we got to figure out what's the plan for him moving forward, the same way it was with Christian Fulton, the same way it was for Rashad Weaver this next time around. As far as being a second year guy is what we're focused on right now, man. And I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in it's camp. It's a physical sport. It's a battle of being out there daily, and I don't see much gripe that can be given towards it other than the fact that, he's something always happening. Like, it's one of those things like if a running back fumbles, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be like, dude, you can't do that. Okay, if it never happens again, we're done. It's over with, right?
Sure.
But if it does happen for a second time, the conversations, the murmurs, man, he's fumble prone. He doesn't take care of the ball. I don't know if I could trust him. That's basically what's happening to him, except for fumbling, you can control that. And injury happening, you can't really control it. I get what the fan base is mad about or concerned about or just, uneasy that is this going to be an ongoing thing as far as his career goes? Is this going to be a situation where we won't get the best out of him simply because he's not available? He will be fine. This has been a long 6 months of being a pro.
Right.
The season, how far are we still away? About 3-4 weeks from the actual kickoff.
That's right.
In that time,
September 11th. Is
it a small concern? Yeah, because we got to figure out how and the whys and how we can keep him on the field, Will. But you got to think this Titans training staff, they are new to him. He's new to them. What's his threshold as far as practices goes? I know everybody treated fairly, but not everybody's treated equally.
Right.
If he needs to have a day, if he's got to have some rehab sessions, like that's a part of it too. And from my understanding, from what you saw, I heard Ron speak about it. I heard Blaine and Mickey bring it up a little bit yesterday too. Like he looks good when he's there.
He does.
And like you see the speed. As big as he is able to top the DB. And what I mean by that is he's side by side running with him, and he finds his way in front of them to catch the ball. It's not a matter of the athlete. It's a matter of just tuning the health side. And small concern, not a big one for me because I know coaches are like, we'll get you to the season. And as long as Tannehill trusts him, he's getting some reps, and I think we can still say this. He's practiced more than Julio has.
Wow, that's a low bar.
Last year. I know, but don't. He started off wrong, man.
We were so excited, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Let's not act like we weren't.
We were so young.
He started off on the bad foot on draft night because he's not A.J. Brown. That's the biggest hiccup in all of this, man. You'd be more forgiving to Traylon Burks not being out there if AJ was still here.
That's true.
That's just where we are.
But he's not here.
Yeah.
And essentially, Mike Vrabel was asked yesterday about concern about Treylon Burks not being out there, and basically just said every camp rep is important, and that is especially important for a rookie wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I think people took that out of context and took that as Mike Vrabel being upset with another first-round pick who's not on the field. I was a little surprised at some of the reaction on social media about this, and granted, a lot of it was based off of people that aren't around the Tennessee Titans every day and aren't covering this team and paying attention to those that cover this team. But I think at this point, the timing of it, Ramon, is unfortunate for me because it comes a couple of days after Mike Vrabel said that Burks has been inconsistent over the past few weeks, and it's a couple days after he didn't get a catch in the first preseason game against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Now, granted, a lot of that is based on the quarterback that was running the football and not throwing it to him.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Malik Willis and the progression that he's going through, but it's just the reality of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the more Logan Woodside you see, the more Treylon Burks you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
The more Ryan Tannehill we see, the more Treylon Burks we're going to see. Malik Willis is not at the point where he is able to stand in the pocket and throw to a second read.
Mm-hmm.
Treylon Burks was a second read a lot of the time. He was the deep read against Baltimore, and that's not even really something Malik Willis is ready to do. Put his foot in the ground and just let it rip, unless the guy's wide open like Racey McMath was for his 42-yard
And
completion.
that was a broken play by the DB. Nice
Exactly.
read by him.
Did you almost say Racey McMath?
Look, it's early. Come on, what are we doing?
He did. Talking a lot on air. You'll mess up a word or two.
I'm high.
I'm awake. I feel good.
With that being said, though, too, man, coaches do this, though. They put stuff out into the metaverse. They put stuff just on social media.
Metaverse.
I know, right? It just got. I wanted to use
Barf.
that. I don't even know if it was used in the right context right there, Will. But
you got it.
It was good.
What
right?
is the metaverse,
The
Ramon?
metaverse is basically IT.
IT.
UNITY. No, it's the communication lanes for everybody, man.
Look, you've
It's
got
the
a young enterprising digital media specialist here to just inform you on all these things.
Basically
Right?
the
Lucas
way
is
the
around?
world.
Oh. I do love though that the one time that or Lucas said this yesterday on Buck Show and said every time Ramon has called him Will, he'll look at him and just call him by a different name.
He does. He does.
Yeah.
He does. And I gave him a nickname, man, and I just call him Luca now instead of just doing it.
Look, I was called the dog's name a lot growing up. No, I mean, I was just legitimately. I also grew up with a brother that has the same initials as me, so I was called Wes.
What was the dog's name?
Abby.
Get out of here.
Growing up, yeah. I was a little kid. Yeah. We're talking a long time
Which
ago.
parent called you Abby?
That was my sweet mother at the time.
Oh, Mama Bowling.
Yeah, it's
She's
fine.
more savage than we thought.
Like if I was really upset about this, I wouldn't have brought it up. So
yeah.
it's funny.
But as far as Treylon goes, man.
You know you're getting called Abby.
Yeah,
here
absolutely.
Okay.
For the foreseeable future.
Coaches throw this type of stuff out there just as added pressure. The one thing I've always spoken about is the unseen pressures that guys deal with. Hey, how your ankle feeling today? You know, it's one of those
right.
you sprain your ankle.
There's always something.
You sprain your ankle during the week and you're supposed to play. It's either the teammates, hey man, how's your ankle?
Yeah.
It's the coaches, hey, how the ankle feeling today? Or it's the trainers, we're good. How you feeling? You want to test it today?
Yeah, right.
Like it's those things that happen, and that's what Vrabel's basically doing. The thing is, Treylon can't push through this because if I was his teammate, if I was in that locker room with him, and I'm talking to him, and I usually talk to the young guys though, as far as like these setbacks, these injuries, this little nagging stuff, the fans, the media, the expectations. You know what I would tell them? Listen, you go out there and you're unhealthy. You're not where you're supposed to be and you're uncomfortable, you're not going to perform well.
Sure.
Like in college, you're kind of forced into some stuff because there's a prospect usually behind you that's right up on your heels as far as the way you got to perform well. And with that being said, you got to kind of go. But in the NFL, what is the one thing that I always kind of tell guys? Like, hey, look, this is a business. You are the enterprises of Will Bowling. You are the enterprises of Jonathan Schaefer.
Absolutely.
Your body is your domain. It's your temple. It is your business. And if you got a bad business, people don't care. They're just going to walk out of the door, not buy anything, and you're going to be out on the street.
Right.
So, Traylon, if you're not ready, if you're not healthy, no matter how loud the chatter gets, don't.
It's not time to push it yet.
No.
That time will come.
Because if he goes out and get hurt again, it's the recurring story.
Yeah, right.
You can't have that in it. I hope there's somebody, and Byers that type of guy. I've heard him speak about, the young guys before. Somebody in that locker room has to tell him, hey, man, listen, ain't no pressure in this. You're going to make the team. You're fine. If you don't get healthy to show that you are the first rounder, you'll never get out of your own way, and you can't force yourself to be healthy if you're not. Like a bone bruise is something you just got to – a tweaked ankle is something you got to – especially at a wide receiver position.
Right.
But people are going to trash him no matter what, though. But you got to really put earmuffs on, man.
I think this also gives us a little bit more insight into why people were right to be frustrated with the way that he showed up to minicamp and rookie minicamp and OTAs. Because everybody's dealing with something, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Everybody is undergoing maintenance for some sort of knock, some sort of injury.
Yeah.
That's why that every rep is so important for a rookie to be in shape day one immediately. And you can't change that now.
Nope.
Traylon Burks can't be thinking about that now. That Titans coaching staff is not thinking about that now. But we can. So for that reason,
Right.
Look, I mean, I think you're exactly right in saying that. I don't think the average fan or anybody understands that there's always some kind of injury for what? I mean, 75% of those guys that are out there right now, and nothing serious, but just something that you're monitoring and something that you are keeping tabs on. And it's not the time to push through that right now.
And that's the biggest lesson of it all, Will. Like, right. I had a former teammate of mine, name will not be named on this, because I knew, and the entire team knew, Will, he was finessing himself through camp.
Uh-oh.
He come in, crush the conditioning test, practice a day or two, and Will, listen to me, listeners, listen to me. He would have a hamstring that lasted the entire camp. Coaches would make him go into the city, get an MRI. And if you know MRIs, it's a long process. Right. Going into the city of Pittsburgh, it was about a 45, 50-minute drive in and 45, 50-minute drive back out. And then whenever he got back out of the MRI machine, he had to come back to training camp, go into the training room all day long. He had to check in like 4 times a day for rehab. But he didn't care because he didn't practice. And we were, listen to me, we were ticked off, just like, he really doing this.
Right.
And the guy was a starter, like on defense. And I'm like, I wish I had the cojones to really just finesse my way through camp. But I needed to practice.
Yeah, right.
And I never wanted that bad juju on me for me faking an injury or something like that. But Will, week 1, he was ready to go.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah, like, he was ready to go, man. And so, but I'll say this, the difference between Traylon and everybody else is this, though, too, is he has nothing in the fans and the coaches and the NFL's emotional bank as far as his time on or off the field. He has nothing with Vrabel as far as his dependability.
Sure.
Jeff misses days. Derek hasn't practiced much at all, right? I mean, Ola got injured one day and was over to the sideline. He had to work in the sand pit. Like, you don't question those things because those guys have stock in your emotional bank about what they've done. If this was, I hate to keep mentioning him, but if this was AJ in this position, you'd be like, all right, he'll be ready by the season, wouldn't you?
And this was the case when A.J. Brown was a rookie in 2019. He was not available for all of training camp. In fact, was really becoming a part of that offense in real time in week 1.
Yeah.
Was really the first time that we had seen him get those extended reps. And it worked out, and he had a big impact. But think back, I mean, Corey Davis had this exact same issue when he was drafted as a rookie. I mean, he had a little knock in practice, got a slow start. And in 2018, it's funny looking back on this. We weren't talking about Corey Davis. We were talking about Tajay Sharp as the guy that was going to have the really big impact early on
Excuse me?
as a rookie wide receiver. That's right. A guy that is now known for the post-game speech he had to introduce Derrick Henry after the win in Baltimore in 2019. So,
Refresh my memory on that, Will.
well, on that one,
Yeah.
Big Truss, woo woo.
I forgot about Big Trust.
That's right. Because that was when Mark Ingram had introduced Lamar Jackson as coming up next for you on this press conference. We have got the MVP,
I forgot
Big Truss, woo woo, Lamar Jackson. And then when the Titans beat the Ravens, Tajay Sharp clowned him and did the exact same
I
thing.
totally forgot about that.
And it was fantastic.
I actually saw that
it was great.
because you beat Baltimore. So,
Rat
you know, I'm
Burks.
all
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
I'm
for
all in on that.
Coming up next, we'll continue the observations from yesterday's practice. Jason Swain is coming up at 7:20. Vols 2 weeks away from week 1. We're going to do Coach Dave McGinnis at 8 this morning as well and talk with him about his observations from practice yesterday. All that and more coming up next as the show rolls on here. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme values on diamond engagement rings is coming to an end. You've got until Sunday at 5. That's it. Sunday at 5 to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA certified diamond ring. Now, the response has been off the charts. People are driving for hours to buy like a dealer buys. Every GIA certified diamond ring on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price. Values that you just didn't think were out there. A half carat to 20 carat diamonds handpicked. Maximum brilliance, all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world. This is why you might see a jewelry store owner, a diamond dealer shopping in the same room you are. Rounds, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emeralds. Genesis with the largest diamond ring selection, all GIA certified you've ever seen. And now through Sunday at 5, that's when it ends. Take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit 1 per customer, please. Again, this is the time. If you're about to pop that question, you can save that money right now and get the top quality. Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20%. All GIA diamond engagement rings now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Ramon Foster, Will Bolin hanging out with you here this morning. It is 104.5 The Zone. Jonathan Schaefer, the best producer in the world.
The best producer in the world.
Thank you, Ron Slay.
That was me on the end of that, too. Will.
That's
Come
true.
on.
That's true.
Well, Ron's actually a little bit better. Why do I keep calling him Ron? They always talk to me. It's like, well, who is Ron? I'm like, my bad, Savage.
I was mainly called Bowling for most of high school. Like, no one ever called me Will.
What you say?
This freaking clown.
I love that Clay drop.
Freaking bum.
Clay Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
This
Titans fan, Clay
friggin-
Thomas.
Yeah.
Or Clay Thompson.
His little brother is playing football?
That's correct.
Wow. Is he
where
with
is he
the
again?
Chargers or Raiders or Arizona? I saw him in a crowd somewhere, and it was like Clay Thompson going wild because of his little brother practice or something. I was like, wow, what an athletic
Maybe he won't be
family.
a Titans fan anymore then.
Well, no, I think that doesn't change. You support family. Like,
Oh, right.
Savage would tell you, like, while I was in Pittsburgh, he was all in.
Yeah.
Well,
No, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. No, you're going to wear the family jersey now.
That's right. That's right. So I've got a question about this Titans defense, and we're going to get into the Caleb Farley discussion with Coach Mack and him not having the best day yesterday. How much can we really judge this Titans defense against Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask? Because those guys are not Tom Brady.
No.
And they don't even it was easy for the Titans defense for most of practice yesterday, specifically on the front seven. Jeffrey Simmons was dominating, and he was letting everybody know who was within earshot that he was dominating. He was acting a fool yesterday.
Was he really? I heard about it. But he pretty much Terrell Owens it is what you're saying. He scored a touchdown. No, Randy Moss it.
Yeah, right.
Scored a touchdown. Fake pulled down his pants like I'm here to stay. Is that what Jeff did?
He
Suck it. Yeah.
I was basically so you have three fields at these joint practices, and I was trying
Buck's
to
not allowed to watch the third one. That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Buck can't watch the third.
100%.
That's right.
And I was trying to stand in the middle of field 2 so I could kind of watch all three things at once. And also, just joint practices are chaotic.
Yeah.
Like you can't really just watch one thing. You're trying to watch reps and like different snaps going on different fields. And everyone could hear Jeffrey Simmons. And so you didn't have to worry about one of the fields because Jeffrey Simmons was basically broadcasting to the world.
Yeah.
That
What did that sound like? Could you imitate what he sounded like?
Respectfully, no.
What did he sound like?
He was saying things like, "This is too bleeping easy. This bleep is easy. Things of that nature."
You sure it sounded like that?
No.
Ramon, what did you think it sounded like?
I think it sounded a little bit like.
What in the world is happening?
You know my
here we go.
name. It's Jeffrey.
You ambushed me on that one, I'm not going to lie. Now batting, the catcher, William Contreras. Listen, all I hear is the National League designated hitters walk-up music. That's all I hear.
They took an L last night.
They did take an L last night.
Well, they almost came back, but
That's
so when we see Big Jeff play this year,
I can't believe how much you just ambushed me on. I had no idea what was going on right there.
So the soundtrack of Jeffrey Simmons playing this year is going to be
yeah. And
A defensive line from Mississippi State.
Jeffrey.
That was a really bad PA announcer right there. What if defensive linemen had sack music like batters have walk-up songs?
No.
Like every time you get a sack, the offensive lineman in the room just got triggered right there.
You know what would happen? Defensive lineman gets sad, and an offensive lineman just goes, we're disrespected.
It's okay. We'll give them to you guys for pancakes also.
That's the thing.
You pancake a guy and you get to
don't
do whatever dance you
get
want.
pancakes in the NFL like that. Well, don't rub my back and tell me everything's okay right now. No, absolutely no.
Nasty
I struck a nerve.
Mention that. No, we're not playing walkout music for a sack. They already get kick door, they flex, go underneath, and well, it's not a life I'm willing to live. No.
Jarrell Casey had a season-ending injury based off of a sack celebration, and I want to say 2015.
Yeah, see,
that's a real thing that happened.
And you want to add music to it?
I'd love it.
Absolutely.
It's electric.
No, it's not a life I'm willing to live right there, Will.
Look, I mean, you don't have to deal with it. You're retired.
Well, I do.
You're in these comfortable chairs.
Because it would irk me. I'd be like, golly, just one sack. He's got beat the entire game. One sack corrects everything bad that you've done. You think about it. Let me go here for a second.
Here we go.
You started it.
Here we go.
Do you know how it's like an offense averages about 70 plays a game, okay? There's 70 opportunities for an offensive lineman to screw up, and they don't, okay? Now, let's say this. One play out of that 70, you go perfect for what is a great batting average in baseball? Over 300%, right?
Over 300 is one.
All right, wins and losses. Who's a great starter in MLB? How many losses is he really allowed to have?
4, 5, 6.
5. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, from there, offensive lineman in any sport can have 69 friggin' amazing plays.
Why 69? Why was that the number that you decided to pick?
Didn't even
that number.
That's tough.
As
You
sick as I
decided.
am.
Why
That's
is
tough.
that the number you just randomly came up with in order to make this illustration?
As I am a sicko with my just sarcasm, I didn't even think about that. He got 70 good plays, okay? But that 71st play be a sack in the fourth quarter with a dub, and he erases all good things you did.
That's right.
One friggin' play.
Let's play music and,
What? Why is that okay? This dude has got pancaked 4
struck
times.
a nerve way too early in the morning, didn't
Yeah,
he?
you did. But
That's on me.
But Jeff had an awesome day, is what you saying.
He had a really good day.
Okay, he put the sword in the ground, is what you said.
Titans front 7 was terrific yesterday.
Yeah, I did
And,
get triggered, y'all. I did. Yeah.
Joshua England said 69 is the best number.
Well, 1 hour down here this morning, third down. And coming up next, we continue to take a look at one guy who had a really good day for the Titans who we have not mentioned. And I think Titans fans are going to be very pleased to learn that Ryan Tannehill might have a new favorite target. And no, it's not Traylon Burks because he was off the field. But this is going to be a welcome sight for the Titans, and I'm going to tell you why coming up here in just a couple of minutes. 1 hour down, 3 to go. We're 25% of the way there. If you're doing the math with us at home, it's 104.5 The Zone.
Is the summertime heat causing you to lose your cool the way I did when Will brought up the fact that defensive linemen deserve a theme song for getting a sack when they only had one good play? Don't be that hot, okay? Now, let me calm down a little bit. But don't let a broken down or older HVAC unit keep you from being comfortable in your own home or stadium. It's Ramon Foster. I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all your HVAC needs, and they are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. And if you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers 60 months, no interest financing. Plus, they can provide the financing for qualifying purchases and free estimates on replacement units. They also back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties. So when the summer is at its hottest, they are at their best. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
7:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Today, day 2 of joint practices between the Titans and the Tampa Bay Bucs. Among yesterday's highlights from training camp, Traylon Burks with a one-handed snag on a deep ball. Unfortunately, he was a little nicked up later in practice. Racey McMath also caught a long pass from Ryan Tannehill. Defensively, Big Jeff, a sack of Blaine Gabbert on the defense's first play. The Buck Rising Show will broadcast live from St. Thomas Sports Park beginning at 10 a.m. The Titans officially announced their trade with the Raiders, in which the Titans received safety Tyree Gillespie for a conditional 7th-round pick in 2024 to make room for Gillespie on the roster. The team waived tight end Briley Moore. LeBron James, he's agreed to a 2-year, $97.1 million contract extension with the Lakers that includes a player option for the 2024-25 season. Mets defeated the Braves 9-7 last night. The loss snapped the Braves' 8-game winning streak. Final game of the 4-game series tonight at Truist Park. First pitch at 6:20. And after nearly a 3-hour rain delay, Nolensville held off Middleborough, Massachusetts 5-3 in Little League World Series play. Nolensville will play Santa Clara, Utah, coming up tomorrow at 2 o'clock in a winner's bracket game. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your own with the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 of the show this morning on a lovely Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome back. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. Ramon Foster trying not to kneecap me for insulting offensive linemen. And that me you're hearing is Will Bowling here with you. We've got Jason Swain coming up. We're 2 weeks away from week 1 in Neyland Stadium. We're going to talk Vols camp with our guy out of the 865. Coach Dave McGinnis at 8 o'clock. Titans and Bucs, day 2 of joint practices going on this morning.
Joint practices.
Yeah. We've got joint practices today, and Will Bowling filling in for us today, and that's because our friend Jason Martin no longer a part of this show. And with Jason, nearly a 2-year run with J-Mart and Ramon, and we wish him all the best in what he's going to be pursuing and whatever his endeavors may be moving forward. And what I want to add to that is with Jason and Ramon, I know you can jump in with this. Yeah. We just had outstanding times working with Jason here, a whole lot of fun and a lot of stuff that we pretty much had no business getting away with on the air in terms of breaking a lot of the rules, and had a lot of success with Jason in that regard. But moving forward for the foreseeable future will be Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Of course, Will doing a lot here on the station, including Titans Talkback. So, Will, this is going to be your home here at least for a couple of weeks or so. But with Jason, again, moving on to future endeavors, no longer here with us on 104.5 The Zone. And I know I can speak for Ramon that we do wish him the best of luck.
100%, man. Definitely wish him well. I had a whole lot of fun doing this. Learned a lot. Was exposed to a lot of stuff that I didn't know in the industry. Welcomed me in. The stories we shared, the experiences we had, was all fun, was all genuine, was all a part of my growth, his growth, and as Schaefer said, it won't be a situation where Jason won't land. He absolutely will with everything that he will do moving forward. It was a hell of a ride. Great times. And again, just a lot of experiences. And for you two guys to welcome me in to the fold of 104.5 The Zone, Nashville embracing me, him being a part of that embrace, man, said a lot about who he is and what he will be moving forward to, man. Just nothing but the best. A great ride, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he bounces into a different platform, and we will continue to just bring you guys, all of us,
be ratchet.
That's right.
Every day, every single day basis.
Absolutely. Jason, a good friend. We thank him for his friendship. We will continue that relationship with him. One of the best guys that I've been around in this business. Been here since 2019. Appreciate him always being a resource, being a friend to me. And look, we've got football to talk. We have got lots of things to do. I'm grateful to you two for welcoming me into this chair in the interim to do this show, to hang out, to talk Titans, to talk Tennessee, because it's a big time of year.
Yeah.
It is there's a lot going on for sure. And, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to get to hang out with you guys as someone that is growing up in this city. It's growing up with these teams that we're talking about. It is a privilege to do 4 hours at a time and get to do this with you guys who have been great friends and mentors to me. So that is where we're at. We're going to continue to talk ball. We're going to continue to do this thing 4 hours a day.
Our way.
And it is Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone for right now.
Yes, it is. The show goes on, man. It's a public job, and our job is to perform. So, Will, let's go.
Let's do it.
Shafe, rolling?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, let's roll then.
So let's get into a little bit more of the headlines from Titans practice yesterday. We mentioned Traylon Burks. Starts off with a good day, a couple of touchdowns. A nice one-handed grab, goes off injured. But one target who was there, who was an instrumental piece, Ramon Foster. This was the Austin Hooper practice.
Was it?
Yesterday.
Yeah, I got a lot of that yesterday.
2-minute drill at the end of practice. Ryan Tannehill and the first-team Titans offense goes down the field. They get a field goal from Randy Bullock.
Yeah.
To score points at the end of practice. Always feels good. You convert in those situational periods and you finish the day on a high note as a unit. 3 catches in a row for Austin Hooper within that period. According to Jim Wyatt, TitansOnline.com yesterday, he had the official tally of 7 catches total for Austin Hooper. Wow. We've talked a lot off air. We've talked a lot on air about how important the tight end position is to Ryan Tannehill. And I feel like this conversation has faded a little bit since OTAs. When you saw this relationship really start, we start to focus more on the rookies. But without Traylon Burks in the mix yesterday, Austin Hooper, in some ways, was the beneficiary of kind of being the target yesterday for Ryan Tannehill.
He was. And not just that, though, Will. It also speaks just about the elusiveness of, Austin Hooper. Like, how was he able to get to that point to where he was open like that? He had to either be breaking down linebackers or DBs or safeties, or he was real friendly as far as finding the zone when it came to him settling in and being very quarterback friendly. That is the one aspect of the game that I thought was missing last year. And maybe the year before a little bit too, though, Will, is where's the tight end? Where's the guy that's going to move the chains? And when Austin Hooper was signed, I think everybody looked at his situation and said, we want the Atlanta version of him.
Yeah.
We want that version of him going to Cleveland, and Njoku was their guy. And he kind of played a different role for them, kind of got hidden a little bit. And honestly, it was probably better for the Titans that he did get hidden because his price was a little low. And because of that, now you get a weapon. I think yesterday in a good-on-good situation, Titans versus Tampa, in a joint practice, you saw what this could look like in a game-like situation. The tight end aspect of the way Titans have had a history of having that guy, as I like to say, the quarterback's blanket.
Yeah.
It showed up yesterday. That's all I kept hearing. I'm listening to the breakdown of, I think it had to be y'all with when Buck was on. It was like another catch to Austin Hooper. I'm like, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And then another catch. And I'm like, wait a second. This guy's continually getting open. That says a lot about him as a pro. Like I said, he's either beating linebackers or safeties, or he's able to settle into the zone. That's the one thing, and I'm not making this comparison whatsoever at all. But that is the one thing that Travis does for friggin' Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
He finds that open zone and moves the chains and get those chunk yards. Now, were they chunk yards? Were they moving the chains opportunities, Will, that he was presented with yesterday, or what?
These were first down catches to the sideline. And I think that's what Austin Hooper gives you when you specifically look at the routes that he can run and where he is most comfortable. He's not quite as one-track minded as some of the past players at that position as of late for the Titans.
Yeah.
Anthony Firkser was a big slot for Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
Jeff Swain was a blocker for Ryan Tannehill. I think the Titans certainly become more dangerous on offense as they become more multiple and as they bring in an Austin Hooper who can be a blocker or a receiver and can be a quick cut guy over the middle of the field, finding kind of that mesh point in the defense and finding space, or making a catch outside the numbers and getting out of bounds. I've seen him do a little bit of everything thus far.
It's nothing but an addition with a guy like that, man, for this offense, because that's the biggest thing we've been saying too. Will even starting last year though is Tannehill's mistakes. Tannehill's like, where is his level of consistency with his receiving core?
Right.
And with that receiving core word is also tight ends is involved in that too.
Yeah.
He had zero to little of that last year, man, and it wasn't a guy that really fulfilled that even in the slot. You know, it was so much movement around, or the heavy relying on Derrick Henry or the running game, that none of this even showed up even the slightest. So to be, 14 days into camp right now as far as overall practices, to hear you say that and to witness it, Will, offensively, I think we all got to kind of say they have to catch up with the defense.
Yeah.
And this, to me, is a part of that first step, despite Bobby Trees getting right, NWI just being him, and just everybody else that's got to play a role at that wide receiver room.
It's important for Ryan Tannehill to have that check down option, and the numbers back that up. According to ESPN Stats and Info, since taking over as the starter in Week 6 of 2019, 24% of Ryan Tannehill's targets have gone to tight ends.
Wow.
25 of his 76 touchdown passes over that span have also gone to tight ends. Didn't see that quite as much a season ago, but that is where Ryan Tannehill becomes the most comfortable within the red zone. Delaney Walker, he loved in the red zone.
Yep.
Or, the Titans quarterbacks, not just really him, because he didn't really play with Delaney Walker. But I mean that Titans quarterbacks have used Jonnu Smith and Delaney Walker as red zone targets for a while.
Yeah.
And that becomes a very important part of what they do.
My first year in covering the Titans, all I can remember is watching Jonnu go down the middle
Yeah.
as a tight end. Moss and folks in the end zone, are making big chunk plays down the middle of the field. That in itself, man, says a lot about what he's capable of doing. And to be able to have a guy that can be in that position. And also, this is this. Derrick Henry also attract a lot of flies.
Yeah.
Just because he's Derrick Henry.
Right.
And just because this is that's what this Titans offense is for the most part, is Derrick Henry and to have a guy that kind of fills that void at that and position, meaning he can be on the field in a blocking set as far as the way the offense set up, snap the ball and he's down the middle, or he's catching the ball because the play action is usually what's next behind Derrick.
Titans offense, predictable a season ago. Hooper, a big reason why they might be a little bit more unpredictable in 2022. All right, we are 2 weeks away from Week 1 and college football being played in Neyland Stadium. Let that sink in for a minute.
Week away?
2 weeks away.
2 weeks away.
We're a week away from Week 0.
I got excited.
2 weeks away from Week 1 in Knoxville. And coming up next, we talk with our guy, Jason Swain. I'm going to ask him a little bit about some of the concerns, his biggest question that he needs answered over these next 2 weeks, and what the mood is like around Knoxville. 2 weeks away from college football, we talk with our guy Swain. Coming up next on 104.5 The Zone.
You want to paint the living room. You want to have pets. You want to upgrade stuff for yourself. You don't want to worry about the noise above or below you, or you want to have your own television.
2 weeks away from week number 1 in Neyland Stadium. You can feel the energy levels rising in our 104.5 The Zone studios. Welcome back. Will Bowling and Ramon Foster with you. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. How does this song make you feel, Ramon?
I used to love it a whole lot.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked it a lot.
wasn't. There's a lot that goes on in this song. You'd be like, wait, he said what? VAA.
Oh, Keith Bullock. Come on, man.
That's our guy.
The GOAT. Joined down the Marks Penn Real Estate Hotline by our guy, Jason Swain, coming to us here this morning out of Knoxville. Swain, good morning.
What is up, guys?
Swizzy.
Oh, not much. We're good. We're 2 weeks away from Tennessee football. How does that make you feel?
I usually get going around game week, but you can feel it because the weather is changing here. I mean, it's a cool, crisp 70 degrees in the morning, dew on the grass, and let you know that football season's around the corner, guys.
We had this exact conversation to start the show this morning, and I'm getting clowned by my producer, my co-host here, because I'm excited to drink my first pumpkin coffee probably in the next week or two. Am I fair or foul in my love of this just to, officially start fall?
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Will.
Perfect.
Too much pumpkin around.
Perfect. Just want to make sure.
Potato chips. We've seen pumpkins. Air freshener out here. It's a little too much pumpkin we see, in these streets, Will. Too early for that.
It is. I let them have it, Swain, but because to me, I'm excited because when you've been through like football training camp in college at any level, when you get that first morning of it being actually cool and you know for sure you're going to survive practice because the heat's not going to melt your face off, there's a level of excitement today. You remember those Gibbs air horn days? Like this part of camp right now, they let you sleep in maybe just a little bit longer, Swain. You remember those? You remember those days?
I do remember those days. I also remember how Knoxville weather is. It could be 55 degrees in the morning, and it could be 95 degrees
That's right.
in the afternoon right around practice. It could be a tornado at 3:30. And then at 4 p.m., right before practice, the skies would open up and the sun would be shining. It would be clear skies just for practice. It didn't seem like it was fair. But Knoxville weather is a whole other animal, Ramon. You remember that?
I do. And see, this is the other part, Swain. We didn't have this luxury of practicing with music or behind the fence. You remember where we were? We're on the baseball field, which is now,
that's right.
We can't even touch the baseball field, Swain. We practice in the outfield of the baseball field in Knoxville. You remember that with tents.
Yeah, times have changed for sure. I mean, it's beautiful. I was at the scrimmage a couple of days ago at the first scrimmage, and I stepped out on the practice field, on the game field there in Neyland, and I was like, oh my goodness. The field, it's like carpet right now. It is beautiful. The fields crew, they've done such a great job with the grass. And you remember, over the last, decade or so where that's kind of been a question with the grass. Some of it, it's not necessarily, your fault. You got to have good weather.
Yeah.
But the weather has come together, and the grounds crew at the University of Tennessee they've been just phenomenal these last couple of months. A lot of people don't think about that. All the people that put in the work to make Tennessee football what it is more than just the coaches and the players. There's a lot of people that care about football, care about Tennessee football, that give their lives to this, and they help make Tennessee football what it is.
Absolutely.
Jason Swain with us here on 104.5 The Zone. So, Swain, before we get to what happened on the field in that scrimmage and where the Vols are at 2 weeks away from week 1, got to ask you first about what Neyland Stadium looks like right now. How are the renovations coming along? And, what are you seeing? What are you hearing about kind of the new look Neyland that people are going to get to see in 2 weeks?
Yeah, man, the new video board is in. The Jumbotron is in. It looks sweet. I can't wait to be up there with Ramon, toasting and throwing back some cold ones. That'd be fun to do. The premium seating area looks to be almost complete. It looks really, really, really good. But it's hard to tell, guys, because the stadium is empty.
Yeah.
I need that stadium to be full to truly grasp the new renovations and how cool it really is. But as far as the empty stadium and seeing all the changes, it looks really nice. But the Vols letters in the south end zone, a pair on each side of the original Jumbotron, it looks sweet too, man. You can't beat those letters. I'm glad that they are back, honoring the past while we continue to move forward and be modern as much as we can.
No doubt about it. Yeah, excited to see that. Excited to see the updated looks for sure. All right, let's talk about the team on the field here, Swain. Over these next few weeks, what is the biggest question that you need answered based on what you've seen from this Tennessee team before they head into Week 1 against Ball State?
Well, we know how last season everything changed. You know, when Hendon Hooker got out there and he had 30-plus touchdowns and 3 interceptions. You know, just did a great job taking care of the football. So it starts with protecting Hendon and allowing Hendon to be who he was last year, but this year do it more, do it bigger, do it better, and keeping him safe. So the left tackle position, which you see J.J. Crawford and Gerald Mincey kind of battling for that position, whoever wins that is going to be a first-time starter. And, boy, what a responsibility that you have. You have to protect a potential Heisman Trophy candidate for the success of the football team, because we know the offense is going to have a lot of weight on their shoulders to go out there and put up points, because the defense is still, you know, growing and depth is still being created. So it's the offensive responsibility to go out and put up as many points as possible. You got to protect Hendon Hooker to be able to do that, I think.
Swain, with that, you know, with the you know, the point you made about the offense having to go out and score points, man. Usually we think about this offense as being deep ball. We think about this being fast paced. We think about the open man running down the side of the field. But if you get into a game where you got to space it out, where you got to slow it down a little bit, like Jacob Warren and the addition of these tight ends in this offense, we speak about trying to make Tennessee wide receiver you because of it. Where are you with the tight ends and how they can extend drives?
Yeah, man, Princeton Fat is, you know, he's a multi-dimensional tight end. Certainly wants to be more consistent this year than he was last year. I thought he had some good moments. I thought there were some moments where he probably wanted to have those back. Jacob Warren, you saw his play late in the Ole Miss game, giving Tennessee a chance to go down there and score and attempt to win that game. But those guys just being more consistent, being able to be versatile and block when we need to in the red zone, because we were not good in the red zone. That's everyone's responsibility for sure. But if you're tight end, you have to look at that opportunity as, hey, it's my time to shine in the red zone. So being more consistent there, I think with Hendon being a senior, our tight ends being experienced, that should be a connection while we're still looking for answers at wide receiver outside of Cedric Tillman. So the tight end, man, should be, I think, a focal part of this offense. And then let's talk about this running game, man. Jabari Small is bigger, he's stronger, he's quicker. It's like watching an artist paint, watching him run the football in the first 2 scrimmages. I'm telling you, man, he is poised to be, I think, a top 3 or 4 rusher in this entire league, because look at last year. He was hurt and almost was 200 yards away from 1,000. Dropped off 200 against Purdue, dropped off 150 and something at Kentucky, and shook a poor Kentucky DB out of his drawers, man, on national TV. So Jabari Small, if he stays healthy, watch out, buddy.
Yeah, and with that running game, man, like you said, Jabari putting on that extra muscle, because you know it can't be bad weight. This guy grinded, man. Him being durable is something that he said when his team needs him, he needs to be counted on, like, visibly. You noticing him, you see it, you feel it, like his style hasn't changed also because of that added weight.
Oh, absolutely, man. Dude, he's quicker, he's faster, he's finishing cuts. I mean, and you know he's seeing the hole a whole lot better now too, because this is the second year in the offense. You know, back in the day when we used to watch and one mixtape, Hot Sauce and Professor Deck or whatever his name was, crossing people over, and like you would go, ooh. That's me watching Jabari Small run the football in the first 2 scrimmages.
Really?
Like his ability to cut on a dime, you know, change speeds, change directions. Like I'm telling you, man, if he's healthy, watch out. He is so fun to watch. And remember when he was a true freshman, Jay Graham was the running back coach. We saw his ability to put one foot in the ground, go finish runs, and then he has the wiggle. We saw that last year, but he has more of it now, man. Whew, can't wait for y'all to see it.
Jason Swain, Sports Radio WNML, with us here on 104.5 The Zone. Swain, I've said all offseason that Tennessee has got to master algebra like they mastered calculus at times last season. The 3rd and 1, the 4th and 1, the short yardage situations. You're talking about Jabari Small. Dylan Sampson is another guy that I've heard rave reviews about, a guy that's been clocked at 22 miles per hour, who's been a really dynamic piece of this offense. It feels to me like Tennessee is just so much deeper at the running back position and can maybe be better at the simple parts of offense and not just the complicated parts. Am I kind of off base in thinking that?
No, Will, but I tell you, man, you start talking about calculus and algebra, I got scared.
Yeah, well, you and me both.
Ask me a math question. I thought I was about to phone a friend called Josh Dobbs or something, man. My goodness. You scared me, Will.
I'm sorry.
I haven't been in school in a while. But, yeah, man, Dylan Sampson, woo-hoo. I like him. In the first scrimmage, he had about a 35, 40-yard run where he made a secondary player miss in space, and then accelerated and scored a touchdown. And everyone kind of looked around like, yo, this – and you know how it is, Ramon, when it's a freshman or a rookie that makes a big play, everyone's like, all right, I see you, young pup. That was a look. That was a look that I had. That's a look that the guys on the sideline was having. The coaches were pumped up. Jerry Mack was like, oh, yeah, I got me one.
Wow.
And so, you know, he's doing well, I mean, with the ball in his hands. But the boogaboo for every freshman running back is pass pro. If he can get that down, he can stay healthy, then I think Tennessee has themselves something with Dylan Sampson. Now, Justin Williams-Thomas had a nice run in scrimmage number 2. The offensive line just parted the Red Sea and allowed Justin Williams-Thomas to get to the end zone. But he is doing well too. The depth, although it looks better on paper, adding the bodies. Remember, you had an injury with Leaf Whitehead. You still have Jalen Rice battling a lower extremity muscle injury that you don't want to push. You want to be out there. You see 2 freshmen coming in and, taking your reps. You want to be out there, but you got to be smart because if you go out there and re-injure it, you're going to be out longer during the season. So, yes, they have more names, but they got 2 guys that were contributors last year. One will be out for the season. Jalen Wright still hasn't put forth a full entire week of practice. So, you got to get those guys healthy. But, man, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how this running back group goes out there and balls out once the bullets start flying.
Swain, on the other side of the football, Wesley Walker, Kamal Haddon, Christian Harrison reportedly working their way back from injuries. D. Williams, Deshaun Rucker in red non-contact jerseys yesterday at Tennessee practice. That's a lot of defensive backs right there who have been banged up, who are supposed to play really big roles in this Tennessee defense. How concerned are you about Tennessee in the secondary right now?
I'm not concerned. I think this medical staff and coaching staff, they do a pretty good job of protecting guys and not putting players in harm's way of turning a sprained ankle into a torn Achilles, something like that. And that's what happens when you continue to play on it and not give it rest. And so you got to give it rest, or you're going to find yourself sustaining a more serious and severe injury. So I think the medical staff have done a really good job of allowing guys to take some time. Now, that could hurt you in terms of reps and chemistry with other players in the secondary, but I would rather have guys out there than not out there.
Yeah.
So I like Kamal Haddon, man. I love his confidence. We saw him make a big play against Purdue last year on the football, had an interception there in the end zone. He's more confident. I liked him before he got hurt a lot. Christian Harrison, he's not a normal freshman. You can tell that he's been coached by a Hall of Famer his entire life with his dad. Technique is really, really good. He just, with every freshman, it's about consistency and staying healthy. So will he be a player for some special teams and get some run in certain situations on defense? I'll tell you, though, about Willie Martinez. Last year, he was a guy that really didn't play a lot of players back there because he's all about trust.
Yep.
And this year, I think he's going to play more guys. I think more guys have earned his trust, and that's going to bode well for the entire defense. You got to be able to have key depth at all areas on the defense. during this long SEC football season.
And that's where I want to finish up with a Swain real quick, man. These young guys, these 4 stars that came in this 22 class, Tyree West, man, James Pierce, and also Joshua Joseph. What is their growth been like now they're in camp? Because that's going to be huge. Like you said, this offense is fast, and you can get a 3 and out in probably under a minute. So there has to be depth, and that starts with those young guys coming in.
Yeah, man. When you stand next to those dudes, you're like, yo, them can't be freshmen, but they are. I mean, Pierce is all of 6'5.5", 6'6". He's quick as all get out, and Joseph, you look at him. I mean, those 2 guys have been balling. But listen, all 3 of those guys will be counted on, and you can tell that the coaches expect them to be a part of the rotation by how Rodney Garner coaches them. Like, there's a sense of urgency. Like, if you are a freshman and you're not being coached as hard as maybe the starter, then I think you can see, like, all right, man, they think I'm going to be a player, but not this year. Like, they're expecting me to red shirt. It's long term, but no, these guys, we have to prepare you to play now. So you see the sense of urgency in the coaches and making sure that Pierce and Joseph and company, those guys who are freshmen, understand, how important it is each and every day, each and every play, to have that focus, to play with maximum effort, to give it their all when they're out there. So expect to see the young guys out there in that rotation there in the 2 deep when you see defensive line players rotating in and out throughout the game.
Jason Swain has been our guest here on 104.5 The Zone, on Twitter at Swain Event, host of Josh and Swain on Sports Radio WNML. Swain, always a pleasure. I'll make sure to bring you a pumpkin coffee of your choosing when I'm up there for week 1 here in a couple weeks.
No, he won't.
No, man. You can keep that, Will. I'm good on the pumpkin, man. I go sweet potato. Give me some sweet potato flavor. I'm
Perfect.
good, all right?
I'm there.
I don't do pumpkin.
I'm there. Thank you, Swain.
All right, see you.
All right, Slizzy.
All
Sweet
right.
potato?
There is Jason Swain.
Culturally, Shafe, I've never in my life had pumpkin pie. Only
you
sweet potato
not?
pie. Never.
Culturally?
Yep,
Are
culturally.
you saying only white
That's the
people
best
have
kind of
pumpkin
pie.
Most black people have sweet potato pie. That's a fact. We can get into that.
I'm learning all sorts
We
of
can
things
take a
this
poll.
morning.
That's the first poll we can do right now.
There you go.
Pumpkin.
Are we having pumpkin pie tomorrow?
No, we have sweet potato pie.
100%.
I mean, Patty LaBelle
We do a
had one
taste
of the
test of both of
highest
them?
selling-
How did this become race?
Culturally, no, because
What just happened?
How many black people go to pumpkin patches or pick up like pumpkin
All right,
puree?
Wait,
A solid question.
That's a solid question.
Whoa. Fair.
See, hey, chat. Let us know how many, who's ever had pumpkin pie. I've never had it.
So should I put up the poll question? Do only white people eat pumpkin pie?
See, look at that, Johnny L.
Really?
Sweet potato pie all day.
Interesting.
Zach Bunch. Well, see, Zach is from West Tennessee. Pumpkin pie is trash, is what he said.
Gosh.
And he's a Colts fan.
Tough.
Yeah.
Let's react to some of the stuff Jason Swain said.
No, hold on.
Oh, wow.
Because he's a Colts fan and hates pumpkin pie.
Wow.
He's not even American.
I'm just telling you, man. See, now we're pushing back.
I hate apple pie.
Tomahawk said, I've never had pumpkin pie, only sweet potato. You hate what?
I don't like hot fruit.
You don't get your thought self up out of here right now.
Hey, you know what, Will?
What?
It's not what your date said last night.
The Buck Rising Show. I think people forget, just because it's $1 billion industry doesn't mean that there's not a bunch of buffoons out there running the sport. Today from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Rounds, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
A new Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store is now open in Franklin at Watson Glen. Get ready to score up to 70% off thousands of items from your favorite athletic brands. Check out can't-miss deals for the entire family, including tees, tanks, shorts, leggings, footwear, golf apparel, and more. Plus, new styles arrive weekly, so there's always more from the best brands. Check out your new Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store for the grand opening celebration, August 19th to the 21st in Franklin at Watson Glen.
This report brought to you by Citizens Savings and Loan. Learn more at citizensloan.com.
.40 eastbound after McCrory Lane, we've got an accident. Watch for stop-and-go traffic from the Davidson County line. Downtown Broadway inbound, there's a crash at 3rd Avenue. And South Nashville Elm Hill Pike, we've got an accident at Fessler's Lane. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football, 104.5 The Zone.
Ramon Foster, Will Bowling with you here this morning on 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate Jason Swain hanging out with us. Listen, I'm going to get killed for my take that fruit should not be prepared hot under any circumstance.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to die on this hill.
I mean, you always get killed for your musical taste anyway.
Third down.
Yours is the only celebrity playlist that the fam openly rejected.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Straight up. What's your take as we get, because the chat's got real serious about
fruit
pie.
was not intended to be hot. Fruit was intended to be cold. Any kind of pie and cobbler with hot fruit, miss me with that. I don't need it in my life.
How dare you? Okay.
I have a lot of questions. First of all, how dare you?
How dare you is the first
Kelly
one.
Kapoor.
Because if you get some peach cobbler, okay, which is the only cobbler I have. I heard people say blackberry good and a cherry cobbler.
Blackberry cobbler?
Is it?
Ain't bad, bro.
Stop, really?
Ain't bad.
Again,
good.
I actually have
culturally it doesn't hit. I've never just been exposed
We need to move across these cultural boundaries.
I know. Invite me to your crib or bring me some pie. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm going to your crib because it's way nicer.
And hey now. And it's going to be a great spread, too, I promise you.
And we can get the food coming into your crib. And it's like,
hey.
My crib, they're like, why are we going to a cabin?
Here's the thing. I love like a good like fudge pie.
Yeah.
Things of this nature. This is my hottest take. Fudge is great under any circumstance. I was at Buc-ee's getting like buy 4 get 2 squares of fudge free a couple weeks ago. Yeah, just it has been 1 hour and 47 minutes. It's the last time Jonathan Schaefer was disgusted by me.
Fudge is great under.
Hold up. So I'm taking sweet potato pie over pumpkin.
Okay.
In my house, it will be these 3 pies, I think, for sure.
Okay.
Sweet potato, pecan, and chess. I'm exploring this year a chocolate chess pie.
Oh,
okay. All right. Now,
yeah,
chess pie.
Yeah,
Southern.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, 100%.
That's 100% Southern.
It's just I feel it's important as you guys get to know me more that this is my red flag.
I mean, unfortunately, we kind of have.
This is the beginning of a of you knowing my red flags, and it's that I hate hot fruit.
We really don't care what you hate right now, okay? Because these are damn good things that we're discussing right now. Thank you, Jonathan. And the fact that you're trying to take away from this and saying how much you hate it, look, we don't have to have jailhouse snacks no more, okay? All right, we don't live that life, okay? We enjoy nice pies around here is what I'm telling you, okay? I will say I'm not huge on apple pies, and for the life of me, I need somebody to explain to me what's with a slice of cheese on apple pie.
Oh, what?
It's a thing.
God.
I swear to you, it's a thing. A slice of cheese on apple pie. I don't get it, but yes.
Cheese on apple pie?
Yeah.
That's kind of like French fries with your Wendy's Frosty.
Do not disrespect that.
No, wait, shut up. You're new.
Shut up.
No.
I love
what
that.
I'm saying is that, if you think this is bad, what I'm saying is that you look at it and you go, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Like pineapple on pizza, you go, no. But it
I
works.
also don't like that.
Well, people hate that too. God, there's
hot
there's
fruit.
that guy,
Again,
man.
fruit was not intended to be hot.
You don't like the pineapple on the pizza?
Absolutely not. Because it's
Really?
hot.
Because it's hot?
Yeah.
Peach cobbler's a no.
What's the temperature? Okay, why is it a temperature issue?
It's like a consistency thing for me.
Okay,
Like I know this is
okay.
my worst opinion, but I just at this point, like I've done it for 25 years.
Now let me ask you this: is that a texture issue?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So what?
All right, I can get
what about those pre-made, like old school, like pastry, like apple pies and peach pie things?
I'm a little
the
more
ones you can
okay
get
with
from
that.
the store?
Yeah, right.
Those.
I'm a little more okay with that. The best part though of like a cobbler or a pie is like the burnt brown sugar and like the crust of it on the top.
Crust. 100%.
So for that reason, like I'm starting to come around.
Yeah, but we'll see. It's clearly yours ain't made right. It's clear whoever's in your kitchen is not doing you justice.
I haven't
and
tried it.
I'm not gonna call Mama Bowling out at all.
No, well, I haven't tried
not her.
it because they know, and I have not tried it for years.
I got a feeling Will goes to places and buy pastries from them and bring them to like dinner cookouts and like holiday dinners.
Like a church potluck, I would take donuts.
But see, his issue is, Shane, he goes to the 1-star place. He goes to the 1-star rated place, and that's his issue because he's always last minute with things.
He ain't going to the Publix and getting a good one.
See what I'm saying? He's not going to the one that's a 5-star that everybody knows about.
Shopping is a pleasure.
Because he's lazy with his pies, and it's clear. What's wrong with you, man?
We do have one tweet at RL Bowling. Who's that? On Twitter says, hot fruit issue is real bad parenting. So there's my father admitting that he is the one that's let all of you down
that's
at RL Bowling. That's right.
I was going to say really loud bowling for RL. That's what I was going to say.
By the way, Becky, who's on sales and marketing team, text me, says no Bloody Marys, no pumpkin pies. What the
Bloody
hell,
Marys
Ramon?
are awful.
I'm not. I can't
Awful.
do.
Hey, I've only had one or two. They're not great.
Mimosas,
So
only way to go.
What's the love?
I've never understood the Bloody Mary thing.
Only vegetables I have in my drink is olives in my
Hey,
martinis.
speaking of that, before we go to the break, I had this past weekend for the first time really like a real gin and tonic with the lime.
Huh?
Really?
Took you over?
Dude.
Interesting.
I got some good stuff at the crib too. I got to see if I can match that.
We'll bond. We'll bond again. I'll make up for my horrible dessert takes when we just talk bourbon
you
because
need a
I feel like we have
reset.
similar tastes in bourbon.
Blue cheese in your olives and martinis is the only way. By the way,
Interesting.
No olives in anything ever. Olives
Blue
are
cheese,
the
olives,
devil's
dirty
food.
martini.
Olives are terrible.
Halftime of the show this
Screw
morning.
olives.
Stand up, stretch your legs, listen to a marching band,
Trash
and
like
when we
Jimmy
come
Crew.
back, we talk with the head coach of Titans Radio, Coach Dave McGinnis. What did he see on the practice field yesterday? That's right. That's how I feel getting to talk with him. We'll get the biggest thing that he is looking for today, day 2 of joint practices. We'll do that coming up next. Will Bowling and Mo Foster with you. It's 104.5 The Zone.
I'm looking for olives.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything. Like if you spill peach cobbler on Will Bowling's floor, they might clean it up too, okay? But seriously, like if you have your water heater that fails while you're out of town and it pours water into your finished basement and you're just devastated, ServPro is prepared for those type of situations. Or an electrical shortage in your office space causes extensive smoke and water damage. ServPro is prepared for it. Or little musty odor indicates it might be Will Bowling. Not really. It's usually your house that needs to be cleaned and renovated. ServPro is prepared for that too. You need a lot more than help sometimes cleaning up, and that's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and the expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drying all the way to complete structure rebuilds. There's this one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant event, ServPro is always ready to help. Call ServPro and the official downtown Nashville operators at 800 ServPro to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. The number is 800 ServPro. ServPro, cleaning, restoration, construction. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Subscribe to The Install with Greg Cosell, hosted weekly by Buck Rising.
Then you get into the conversation about it's 1st and 10 and we have Derrick Henry. What's the balance between giving the ball to Derrick Henry and trying to create explosive plays?
8:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the SuperBook.com sports desk. Today, day 2 of joint practices between the Titans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Among yesterday's highlights from training camp, Traylon Burks, a one-handed snag on a deep ball, though he did leave practice. Was a little dinged up. Racey McMath also caught a long pass from Ryan Tannehill defensively. Jeffrey Simmons had a sack of Blaine Gabbert on the defense's first play. The Buck Rising Show will broadcast live from St. Thomas Sports Park beginning at 10 a.m. Titans officially announced their trade with the Raiders, in which the Titans received safety Tyree Gillespie for a conditional 7th-round pick in 2024. To make room for Gillespie on the roster, the team waived tight end Briley Moore. LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year contract worth just over $97 million with the Lakers. That includes a player option for the 2024-25 season. Mets 9, Braves 7. The loss snapped the Braves' 8-game winning streak. Final game of the 4-game series tonight with first pitch at 6:20. And after a nearly 3-hour rain delay, Nolensville held off Middleborough, Massachusetts for a 5-3 win in Little League World Series play. Nolensville will play Santa Clara, Utah on Friday at 2 o'clock in a winner's bracket game. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Halftime of the show, hour number 3 here on this Thursday morning. The Titans and Bucs continuing joint practices, and Coach Dave McGinnis is on deck to talk about that with you. The highlights of day 1 and what he is looking forward to the most on day number 2. Alongside Ramon Foster, my name is Will Bowling, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. 2 hours down and 2 more to go.
Let's roll with it, Will. I like the halftime aspect of it, man.
Thank you.
It's perfectly placed because it is halftime. But besides that, it's a kickstart.
That's right.
Second half, man. What are you going to do in this is all coach speak. What are you going to do in the first 5 minutes of the second half, man?
Yeah, the first possession of this segment will really tell us a lot about the way the second half of the show is going to go as we get out all of our halftime cliches here while we can. But
coach speak.
Headlines yesterday, we mentioned Austin Hooper earlier in the show having a good day. 7 catches total, according to Jim Wyatt of TitansOnline.com. Traylon Burks leaving practice early after one of his best plays of camp, a long bomb touchdown catch from Ryan Tannehill. Caleb Farley, according to Mike Vrabel, not having his best day, did have one completion by a Titans legend, Julio Jones, against him in 2-minute drill at the end of practice yesterday. And we are joined now on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by Titans Radio's head coach, Coach Dave McGinnis, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Coach Mack, good morning. 1 day down and 1 to go with the Bucs.
Yeah, good morning, Will. Good morning, Ramon. Yes, I mean we got 1 day down, and I'm looking forward to today. You know, anytime joint practices that I watch are going on, I've been involved in a lot of these as a coach, but I need to pick out one specific thing to watch because there's just so much going on. Yesterday, you know, with Ron Slay and with Rhett Bryant and Father Ed, we sat there and watched the offensive line. I watched all the offensive practice yesterday. Didn't see any of the defensive practice until they all came over to field 1 to do the 2-minute and the team stuff over there. So I'll be watching defense today, but I watched offense yesterday and mainly the tackles. That's what I wanted to look at specifically from the end zone at ground level.
Dylan Radins and Nicholas Petit-Frere had their hands full with Akeem Hicks with the front 7 of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What was your biggest takeaway about the way Radins performed specifically yesterday?
Well, he took all the number 1 reps, and Petit-Frere took all the number 2s. They did a nice job. Radins got forklifted once by Hicks. Hicks is only about 6'5", 350, so he's got some forklift in him. But the thing about the play, and I was sitting there talking with Red about it, he did get forklifted back, but the pocket was clean, and when he got put back to the quarterback, the ball was already gone, which is really what you're looking for. They both really did a nice job, I thought, of being able to stay square in their stance, to be able to drop their weight. They did a nice job, both of them, when it was pass protection with their kick slides. They got hats on hats in the run game. I thought both of them did very well yesterday. And as I said, this is a great test with that defensive front that Tampa Bay is bringing in here, and it was fun to watch. But that's all I watched yesterday was the right tackles at ground level, because I want to watch myself and see both of them at this point, and both of these guys are going to play for the Titans this year. So I was happy with what I saw.
And Coach Mack, man, that's the beauty of being able to put eyes on a joint practice like that, because you really get a true test of, okay, what's our deficiencies before we get to the actual game day lights and field and putting those guys in those tough situations. But on the other side of the ball, Coach Mack, all I heard is Jeffrey Simmons planted his sword in the ground and said, I own you today. And that also why you have those joint practices, because I'm sure Jeff was a little piped up because he was able to go against somebody new. So you got a chance to see his true growth yesterday too, Coach Mack.
Yeah, and the reports that I got from that field were that that Jeffrey Simmons was Big Jeff yesterday, which is what you want. As I said, I'm going to watch Ramon. I'll be over there watching the defense today. I want to watch our defensive front, particularly because I really believe that's going to be a really nice strength for this football team. But for anybody that ever wants to go watch joint practices, if you really want to be able to diagnose things, you've got to pick one thing to do and stick with it, because as I said yesterday, it's like a county fair out there. There is so much going on that you've got to be able to focus. If you're trying to evaluate what's going on. That's why it's so valuable for the coaches. These were long film sessions for the coaches yesterday, not even with the players, because but they have gone back and gone all over this, because there is so much going on. I know that John Robinson probably splits his people up between offense and defense. And so all of that's important now. But the big thing is what you said. I think I've been involved as a coach with 8 or 9 of these things, and then have watched several of them here. It's really good because you get to this point in camp, you need somebody else to work against. And the other thing that happens, Ramon, you can work ones against one, and you can program how you want to work that. So I think it's really, really beneficial work.
And Mac,
the other thing, let me say this too.
Go ahead.
They practice like professionals.
Yep.
I mean, you've got 2 professional coaches. You got professional players that know how to practice. There were no fights. There were none of that, because all that does is just wastes your time. Yep. That it's just a waste of time. And then somebody's going to get hurt, either you or somebody else, and that doesn't help you get ready for any season.
Coach Mack, of course, with not everybody being able to lay eyes on practice, we just get reports. And I just want to hear your explanation of, look, if you hear a guy have a bad day or a couple of drops or didn't get open, like that ain't necessarily a bad thing in these type of situations, because as you said, you get an opportunity to see ones-on-ones, young guys on young guys, to see where you are as a team and where your players are also, because we heard a little bit about, Caleb Farley yesterday, but that ain't necessarily a bad thing. This is a teach lesson more than it is a joint practice.
What's a progression? I mean, look, Ramon, I've been doing this a long time.
Yes,
you played
sir.
for a lot of years. Look, as successful as you were, and you cannot have helped but been successful to play double-digit years like you did, you got beat sometimes.
Absolutely.
You got beat. And not only in practice, you got beat in games. And I've been associated with 8 Hall of Famers in my career, was fortunate enough to do that. They got beat too. So you're going to get beat. You've got to challenge yourself, and this is a really good time to challenge yourself, against another team, because this is when you're developing a lot of things that you're going to continue to build on. But that thing about playing National Football League football is you can never rest on what you've done good, or you can never let what has happened to you not so good take you down so that it continues to cascade in that way. It's a consistent look. I would tell my players all the time, and I was told this as a very young coach, and for myself specifically, look, I want you, Mike Dick had told me, I want you to understand every day out here is an interview for your players and for you. So get ready for that.
Yeah.
Coach Dave McGinnis with us, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price? Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans since 1947. Coach Mack, yesterday, 3 catches in a row for Austin Hooper in 2-minute drills at the end of practice. 7 total catches, according to Jim Wyatt, kind of officially, unofficially. Really good to see that chemistry kind of take another step forward. Thought that was a really big positive for the offense yesterday, too.
Yeah, first of all, Will, anything Jim Wyatt puts out is official.
Well, that's right. You were right about that.
Jim White is the great one. Jim White is the dude. All right, so if that's what he says, that's exactly what happened. But to your point, that's why Hooper's here. The between the numbers, that's his area to work in. And we saw great examples of that yesterday because whether it was a safety, whether it was a linebacker, whether it was a banter zone in that 2-minute drill, and Tannehill is starting to understand. They've worked on it enough. He knows his nuances at the top of his break point. He knows where he's going to be. Tannehill was on yesterday. He was cutting it loose on time. They were giving him good protection. But for those types of things to happen, and it was tight coverage in that 2 minutes, so you got to cut it loose before they're open. And Hooper, big body, is really good at the top of his route. He's a professional tight end that is a veteran tight end that understands how to get open against man and zone, especially between the numbers. That's the world he's going to live in, and that's exactly where we need him. And yesterday was a really good example of that.
And I just thought it was a beautiful thing, Coach Mack. And Will and I spoke about Hooper and, the data he had. For him to get those type of catches either says he's breaking down linebackers or safeties, or he's very quarterback friendly as far as knowing how to settle into a zone, something he didn't do in Cleveland. So being able to highlight that for him in this offense, Coach Mack, that's tremendous on him. And honestly, it tells you a lot about what Tannehill likes to do.
Well, it's important, Ramon. Of course, there's not a quarterback in the league, especially in today's National Football League, that doesn't need a quarterback-friendly tight end.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much going on, and people can take away guys on the outside, sooner or later. And it's they're longer throws. That's why you've got so much reduced splits now with crossing routes and stuff to put more routes in front of the quarterback. Now, you talk about Traylon Burks. I mean, he was really good yesterday in his releases. They couldn't press him, and he was just taking off. And he was the deep ball guy yesterday. But between the numbers, where the chains move, you've got to be able to find that receiver. And as I said, this guy Hooper's is a nuanced tight end. He really is. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what went on at Cleveland. I really don't care. I mean, there's a lot that goes on at Cleveland that I really don't care about. But when he's here, what I have watched him do is and most good tight ends that you look at, they're really good at being able to feel pressure on them, without slowing down. And then the stem at the top of his route is really good. And he doesn't give the guy that's picked up on him, especially inside, really much indication of whether he's going in or out or when he's going to take off across. And so he and Tannehill are starting to develop a nice little connection.
Coach Mack, one more for you on the way out. You're watching the tackles, the offensive line yesterday. What are you most actively going to be paying attention to at today's practice?
The defensive front. I just want to watch the defensive front today. I mean, I want to watch them work. They're all out there working together. I want to look at them. I've got plenty of time, to watch the secondary. I really, at this point in camp, guys, my attention really goes to the big dudes up front on both sides of the ball, because that, regardless of how wide open this game has become, it's still a big dude's game. And you've got to be able to win up front, offensively and defensively, on a consistent basis if you're going to be a good football team. And so I just want to watch, the development of those guys defensively up front. I was pleased with what I saw yesterday, with the offensive line. Keith Carter and Mike Sullivan are really, really serious technique coaches. You can see their technique work on both Dylan Radins and Nicholas Petit-Frere, who I really concentrated on yesterday. Both of those guys are better technique-wise than they were when they both showed up here. So that's a big thing. And Ramon, I think you can tell our listeners too, technique is a whole different world on the offensive line in the National Football League. It is important because some of those front-end loaders and some of those road graders that you've got to be able to stop, if your technique is not there, it only takes being off balance a little bit to get into problems. And so that's what I was watching yesterday. And so, I'm going to watch the defensive front today, see how they're working together with games, and then see how they're working on, if it is a passing situation, what they're doing with their moves, how they're setting up people, how quick they're getting off. That's what I want to watch today.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful statement, Coach Mack, about
I like it.
Technique saves you, especially at that position, because the room for error is only about 5 feet to you to the quarterback. So, Coach Mack, when I love when you talk offensive line stuff. You know that.
Hey, Ramon, you know who's loving the offensive line standing there with me yesterday? Slay.
See?
Ron Slay was so great yesterday. He came up to me and said, Coach Mack, I want to learn something today. I said, all right, well, look, you're going to sit here. I don't want to, we're not talking about anything else but football, and so I want you to watch these right tackles. And after every play, I want you to tell me what you saw. And I don't want any ifs and buts and candy and nuts out of it. I just want to know what you saw every play. It was a great day. It really was.
Good. Well, I'll see you out there today, Coach Mack, man. You let me know if I missed something before I get there.
I'll try to do that, but I can't watch everything. As I said, I know we got a lot of county fairs going on around Middle Tennessee right now. County fair, guys, pick something to watch and focus on it, because if you try to watch everything, you'll come away watching nothing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Coach Dave McGinnis has been our guest here on 104.5 The Zone. Brought to you, as always, by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Titans taking on the Bucs this Saturday. You can hear them right here on Titans Radio. Coach Mack, always a pleasure, and we'll see you in a couple hours out there at St. Thomas Sports Park. So there we go. Coming up next, let's react to some of the highlights of what he had to say. Let's look ahead to today's practice because there are a lot of things that I'm going to be paying attention to out there, and I'm curious if you're going to have the same ones that you're going to be looking for. Let's do that next right here, 104.5 The Zone. It is Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. Your chance to head to Nissan Stadium for Titans Ticket Thursday today to see the Titans take on the Buccaneers coming up in just a moment. So get those dialing fingers ready if you want to head to Nissan Stadium, thanks to 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling with you, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. Caller number 5 to call Jonathan Schaefer right now is headed to Titans and Bucs on Saturday. The phone number is 615-737-1045 here on Titans Ticket Thursday. Caller number 5 right now. Call Jonathan Schaefer, and you will be headed to see the Titans in preseason game number 2. 615-737-1045. Give him a call right now, and you may be the lucky one to head to Titans and Bucs this Saturday.
Yeah.
Coach Mack with some interesting comments about Dylan Radins and Nicholas Petit-Frere that I want to get into with you. Yeah. Saying pretty point blank, look, he got bulldozed by Akeem Hicks and was pushed back. I liked the way he was able to respond, and I thought the offense held up pretty well in situational drills at the end of practice after some pretty rough reps in the middle of practice yesterday.
Yeah, this is all a part of the growth. If you don't have a couple scars, man, how are you supposed to grow? What does muscle do when you lift? It breaks down and gets stronger. Like, that's what that was. That's what this camp is. And you want to know what a secret behind those reps too, Will?
What's that?
Coach Vrabel set that up.
Yeah,
he knows Akeem
Sure.
Hicks. He knows that bull rush has to be a component that they have to be able to stop. And not even that. He's not going to see a guy usually that big at that position attacking him on the edge that's where we're at with what camp does. He just wanted to see how Dylan Radins and NPF were going to respond to it. And today we get that opportunity to see that response too. So with that being said, it's growth. It's, okay, how serious do you take your job? What are you willing to do to combat this? If this is a weakness of mine, how do I ask my coach, hey, coach, man, look, this could be an issue for me? Because I will say this. If you have an issue like that, teams will strategically just test the waters a little bit with you during the season. If you have a bad tape out there, it usually takes about 3 weeks to get it to, just leave, Will. And then later in the season, somebody will revisit that. Look, this guy can't stop the bull rush, or this guy's a waist bender. That's one thing we kind of heard about NPF a little bit yesterday. Yeah. You got to get away from reaching. What better situation do you have in order to expose that? In a controlled environment where nobody's fighting, where nobody's going to do anything that takes away from these reps. These reps are uber important. They are some of the best things they're going to have coming their way, because saying that Akeem Hicks or any one of their big body guys is throwing them into the quarterback, well, I can blow the whistle and end it.
Yeah, right.
And then we can review the tape and we can see what you did wrong. As Coach Mack said, this is an ongoing process. This is as you said earlier, rip the Band-Aid off and see where we're at type of camp and joint practices that we're having right now.
It's important for some of the mistakes made yesterday to be corrected today.
Yes.
Along those lines, who are you most interested in watching today at practice?
Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff, because
that's not what I thought you'd say, honestly.
No, but because now they know. It's one of those, hey, I heard you was that dude. I heard you were nice.
Yeah.
But now I saw it. If that offensive line, Shaq Mason is there, Tennessee native. I'm sure he's glad to be here also. If he is who I think he is as a veteran in this league, he's going to respond. And he's going to tell all the guys around him to respond accordingly too. So I want to see how Jeff is going to bounce back. And I'm not questioning what Jeff can and can't do. What I'm saying is you're on notice. It gets very personal when you embarrass me today. I know you're at home, but guess what? I'm a man of pride. My job depends on how I perform against you. And so him being tested, how honestly, Will, how can he contain himself to not go outside the box? I see Roger in the chat say fights 100%. Jeff can't do that.
Yeah, and
that's
I feel
why
like
I say him, and it's obvious, but that's why I say him though.
And there are a lot of veteran offensive linemen for Tampa who are absent right now. Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, the injuries that they have had are well documented at that position throughout training camp. I imagine, though, if you were an offensive lineman for Tampa and put yourself in their shoes for a minute here this morning, I imagine somebody's trying to send a message to Big Jeff like, hey, but you're not going to push us around like that easily. Not a second day in a row.
And that's why him. But also, Austin Hooper had a day. See what he does. But also, Kyle Phillips. What is he going to look like?
Sure.
How does he bounce back a little bit with how he does? Tannehill had the sack, and I'll be real. He had the pick. Devin White. How does he trick Devin White the next day? Devin White has seen him. He's seen your movements. He picked you off from practice. What's your response? Can we have a cleaner day from you? And one picked in a controlled practice ain't bad because, again, you got to test those limits.
Sure.
And truthfully, watch a Malik response too. I saw yesterday the drills that he was doing, or maybe it was the day before one. Did you see what was going his way? It was like a bunch of juggling sticks being thrown at him.
Literally throwing the kitchen sink at him.
Literally throwing the kitchen sink at him. Only thing they didn't do, I don't think they threw anything at his feet, but they were trying to cloud his eyesight as far as navigating the pocket. What does that look like for him in a live open set as far as nobody touching the quarterback? But guess what? They can rush up the middle, get you rattled a little bit, and then you got to deal with the fact I got to stay in this pocket. That has to be an emphasis for him. And this is the other part of it too, Will, a lot of fans want that for him.
Yeah, right.
Like, they're really supporting Malik, but Malik has to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's what we always say.
Sure.
When you get to a point as being a pro, you better be very comfortable being uncomfortable.
Sure.
And Malik has to experience that.
I thought this was an interesting piece yesterday from Mike Kay of the Pro Football Network, who was at practice at St. Thomas Sports Park and followed around Malik Willis and watched everything that he did. And Willis, after practice, was quoted as saying, "I've been trying not to run at all at practice." Adding, "I know I can run. I'm just focusing on my pocket presence and climbing and just being able to let that thing rip when I want to, not just because I see an open gap and take off." So I want to ask you this. Malik Willis and Logan Woodside are going to be graded on very different scales.
Yeah. Yep.
Because Logan Woodside, when he throws an interception or makes a mistake, is going to be grilled by this fan base in a lot of ways unfairly.
Yeah, man.
But at the same time, I think the same people want to see Malik Willis make more mistakes.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, I would rather see Malik Willis try to push the ball down the field to his second read and figure out what he can and can't get away with a safety and with a look that he thinks he's getting and then learns as he's releasing the football, this is not the look I thought that I had. And so it's weird, right? Because these guys are competing to be QB2 on this roster. Logan Woodside can't make mistakes. Malik Willis, we want to make more mistakes. How weird is that? Because I feel like that's very much the situation that these two guys are in right now.
Well, that's because Logan has been here. And I'll say this, Malik is new. He has a lot of optimism behind him. He has a whole lot of support behind him. And to your point, though, Will, you made a point by saying, you want to see Malik be pressed a little bit. He better take full advantage of this now. Because the more years he play in this league, the higher the expectations, the less they're going to be patient with those types of things. Because even though people are saying we want him to be quarterback number 2, we want him to take Tannehill's job. Do you really?
Yeah, do you really?
Do you really?
Because the offense changes the minute that guy has to start a football game and be the guy.
Yes.
The entire system of what you're running changes.
He has to make these mistakes and be okay with them. Like the level of being comfortable with being uncomfortable, I can't overstate that, especially with these joint practices right now, because this is as real as it's going to get. And again, you look at Logan Woodside and you say, well, we do have a draft pick behind you. We think he's better than you. We think you need to show us that you deserve to be here.
Sure.
Whereas Malik is like, yeah, I'm here. So because he has that grace, and you know this too, Will, being in a public job, like playing sports, being a musician, being on radio, being a political figure.
You're gassing me up.
No, I'm just saying the outside pressures that come with that of performing daily, nobody's going to excuse it when there's an expectation. Right now, Malik's expectation is lower than most as far as what we're expecting him to be right now.
Sure.
So because of that, bang all this out the way. Handle it. Get cussed out by your coaches. ruin a period as far as a team goes. But Malik's situation is this. If he doesn't become uncomfortable in those games that he's going to start and play in the preseason and in these practices, he also has to deal with this too. Dog, if you take off running every single time and I beat somebody down the field, well, how in the hell am I going to make this team?
That's right.
Like, that's the
and it's
other
hard
side
to
of it.
evaluate Treylon Burks against Baltimore because he's open on the third level behind the defense a couple of times.
Can I be real?
Absolutely.
I'm going to take that personally.
Yeah.
And not even just Treylon, the tight ends, but more specifically the offensive line.
Sure.
They're trying to build depth too. Now, everybody speaks about the running quarterback, right? But the thing is, it's such a risky job, and it puts guys in positions that are bad because if I'm expecting you, and Coach done told you, Will.
Yeah, that's right.
You better stay in that pocket and throw it. I don't care if they tag you. Stay in the pocket, deliver the ball. I'm not going to blow the whistle. You got on a red jersey. You're not going to get hit. And if I'm blocking my man and I'm working them and you run and I get a holding call and my coach ripped me, then I'm going to start feeling a certain type of way.
Sure.
Because my performance is based on you doing your job and getting better at your job gradually. And that there's not a true evaluation that can happen because of it. So, Malik, listen to the coaches. You're afforded to make every mistake in a book right now.
Right.
Do it.
And I think that's the source of frustration when Mike Vrabel has a short answer, kind of clapping back at media after the loss to Baltimore, saying, I took him out of the game because I want him to throw the ball to open receivers. He needs to evaluate those receivers. And look, I think that room is certainly, it's more clear who is making this roster and who isn't than it was this time last year. This time last year, you had Marcus Johnson, Chester Rogers, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Racey McMath, all fighting for pretty much one or two spots. Ended up really being two at the end of the day. But you've still got to evaluate that group, and you've got a lot of decisions to make there.
Yeah,
and you need your quarterback to help you out within that process in order to make that evaluation process possible. So interested to see what he looks like today. Thought he was better in 7-on-7 from what I saw yesterday, Malik Willis. Thought he had a lot more check down opportunities. To be honest, he looked a little bit like Harrison Bailey at the end of the Tennessee-Arkansas game in 2020 at one point, that every time it was just check down to the running back.
Yeah.
Check down to the running back. But I would rather that be his floor than escaping out of the pocket and trying to run.
But because this is the other part too, Will. He can get his block knocked off.
Protect yourself. That is right.
Because college defenses, and you follow college ball well.
Yeah,
that's
right.
one thing I will. You follow it well. College defenses suck. You know, Will, like college defenses suck. You'll have a cornerback going to the other side of the field, and he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, that's right.
Your job in NFL is dependent on you doing your responsibility.
Sure.
So it's not a matter of you not having anybody there waiting on you. Yeah, there's going to be somebody waiting on you if that's the case.
Coming up, a little bit of breaking news in the world of college athletics. The Big Ten has officially announced its new media TV rights deal, and it is the largest media TV rights deal in the history of collegiate athletics. The Big Ten will have a new home. We'll tell you the dollar amount and where they will be coming up next on 104.5 The Zone. Well, for the first time in 40 years, ESPN will not be broadcasting Big Ten football and basketball. Welcome back. It is Ramon and Will at 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling and Ramon Foster with you. And Moan, there is a new biggest media rights deal in the history of collegiate athletics, and these numbers are wild that the Big Ten has signed.
Me, God, dog, what a bag.
7 years, $7 billion. $1 billion a year.
With a B?
With a B. With Fox/FS1, CBS, NBC, and the Big Ten Network that will take the Big Ten through the 2029 and 2030 academic year. The conference also announcing a deal with Peacock. This is wild, and this is official via the Big Ten about 15 minutes ago.
So FS1 getting a late primetime game, is that something like you got to go? I watch FS1 for daytime.
Yeah.
Are like they spreading out all of these as far as primetime goes? Because that's where the money is made, you know?
So you want to know what the Big Ten game of the week is going to sound like? Here you go. Thanks, I hate it.
It doesn't sound right.
This will be the music for the Big Ten game of the week. CBS Sports tweeting this out 18 minutes ago, tweeting out a video of Big Ten highlights to this music.
Oh.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Actually, no, I'm mad.
I see Tennessee. I see Georgia. I see Auburn.
My
I see
heart
Alabama.
rate is getting up hearing this music.
I see. Like you see where I'm at with this. Like this, I don't imagine.
Suck it.
Yeah, I don't imagine it like Ohio State with this. Michigan State.
I'm really mad.
Where are we with? Like what? Justin
really hurts me.
Can I ask you this? Of course I can.
We got to take the streets. We got to take the streets now.
Yeah, like what justifies a Big Ten game of the week other than Ohio State, Michigan?
Well, what's going to happen is you bet the under and you make a pot of chili and watch cold weather football.
We're SEC guys.
I like chili.
Yeah.
So I love chili.
I'm always down
wait
to
to make a
bowl
pot
of chili.
I'll have my wife make it. Either way,
SEC football, sundresses,
cocktails.
Yeah.
Sundrop.
And the SEC on CBS music.
When in Atlanta, going to Athens, the varsity.
Oh.
I have never did the varsity, though.
Have you not?
All right,
well, let me say this.
All right, can I be real on this?
I'm going to have the same take as you, so go ahead.
Overhyped.
It is.
Well,
I'll tell you what's not overhyped, though. The Frosted Orange.
Oh, okay. Well, I also went with a true Atlanta native, Inky Johnson.
Go Braves.
Inky we're going to see him this weekend, going to the Braves Astro. Yeah,
nice.
we're going to the Braves Astro this weekend. Nice. Going to see Ink. But if you go with a true Atlanta native from Atlanta in Atlanta,
Right.
No, we're not doing the varsity.
Oh, that's how my buddies are. Where'd you go?
American Deli.
There you go. Now
American Deli. They have some in Alabama. We need some here. American Deli wings, not like the big jumbo wings.
Speak it in existence.
But they're just good. The menu option at American Deli, that's where Inky took us. He was like, no, we're not doing varsity.
Well, these are things that CBS will no longer be able to feature on their broadcasts. CBS will not carry as many games in 23 as they do for the duration of the contract. So the network will pay more in later years. USC, UCLA will not join the Big Ten until 2024. The added payments from then will reflect the increase in inventory. So Kevin Warren speaking with media, telling The Athletic today in an article by Bruce Feldman, saying it was really important for us to build something unique to have specified windows. So what's going to happen is they will kick off the day with Big Noon on Fox and then roll right into all nationally televised games. They will roll from Fox at noon to a game on national TV with CBS at 3:30 Eastern, and then a primetime game for Big Ten on NBC. Another interesting part about this is that the Big Ten championship game will rotate to different networks every year. So in 2023, the Big Ten championship game is on Fox. It goes to CBS the year after that. Back to Fox in 25. NBC gets it in 26, and then it's Fox, CBS, and Fox in 27, 28, and 29. For perspective, Ramon, $1 billion a year is a lot more than what the SEC has with ESPN at $300 million per year. And I'm not used to saying that the SEC doesn't have the biggest amount of dollars in anything when it comes to football. That is now the case with this new deal with the Big Ten.
No. They're dragging bags. This is what's happening right now. If you're the SEC, what do? You got to go back. We got to talk this. We got to talk this over. Like that's where and the mouse got it.
ESPN's probably pretty pleased.
Is what I'm saying? Like, golly, because ESPN is getting the maximum output for it. Like, Sankey, hey, buddy, I'm sure you're getting a call real soon about what we need to do to get up to that mark. The Big Ten ball, I'm going to be biased, very biased.
Oh, yeah, you and me both.
Big Ten ball ain't SEC ball.
No.
Okay?
No.
It's just not. And this has to be because the addition of the West Coast team.
It now has national appeal.
Yes.
From coast to coast.
Yes.
And that's what the difference is now, is that you're going to have national TV games that have more national interest.
Yep.
From the East Coast to the West Coast than you do in the SEC. It might mean more, but it does not cost more.
Where do you think this deal was before UCLA and USC? As far as
below the SEC number.
Below the SEC.
No doubt.
So there is not a whole lot of love coming out of LA for football. In general, SEC has its fan base.
Not for Northwestern and Purdue on a big noon kickoff on a Saturday.
The market means more than the actual team, is what this deal is about.
Yep. 100%.
Goodness.
The biggest city in the SEC is the one that we are sitting in right now.
So let me ask you this, too. With that being said, that attraction, that flirting, that dating now in the West Coast as far as the Big Ten is concerned.
Yeah.
This was talked about before they joined.
Had to have been.
This was
this is the appeal. This is why you would want to join.
This is also, okay, how do you explain how we're going to fund our flights to the East Coast? Well,
That's right.
We're splitting up $1 billion.
How's the women's soccer team going to go from Piscataway, New Jersey to Los Angeles?
Well, we got $1 billion now, Will.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
It's money's making sense right now. And they say there's no money in, golly.
Yeah. And players get what percentage of this pie? 0% for those counting at home from this pie. Thank you.
Oh, we got to put a cap on the
There we go.
Oh, I'm Lane Kiffin. I said that everybody's cheating even though this is perfectly legal.
Jonathan Schaefer went right back into his making fun of Nashville SC fans voice really quick.
Well, that's true.
It just ain't fair. They're amateurs. No, damn it. They're splitting up $1 billion right now.
Legalized cheating.
Can you please get a drop of that?
What does Clay Thompson say? Hold that.
Thanks, I hate it. Coming up next, that's going to be my version of I hate it here.
854.
Thanks, I hate it. Coming up next, four's up, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
If you're driving around, let's keep those hands on the wheel.
10-2.
Let's keep it
fours or did you?
Let's keep it between the navigational beacons, please. But for all the rest of you, four's up. Fourth quarter of the show is coming up next. And you know what? This show, we're going to get better as the fourth quarter begins because the first possession of the fourth quarter is going to tell us about how this game is going to end. Pete Thamel with an interesting piece. College football is changing in the Big Ten, and there are meetings going on that are a little unprecedented. We're going to carry this energy into the 9 o'clock hour. Coming up next, 104.5 The Zone.
Oh, my God.
9:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Today, day 2 of joint practices between the Titans and the Tampa Bay Bucs. Those are about to get underway. Among yesterday's highlights from training camp, Traylon Burks, a one-handed snag on a deep ball, but unfortunately got a little nicked up in practice. Racey McMath also caught a long pass from Ryan Tannehill. Defensively, Jeffrey Simmons had a sack of Blaine Gabbert on the defense's first play. The Buck Rising Show will broadcast live from St. Thomas Sports Park beginning at 10 a.m. The Titans officially announced their trade with the Raiders, in which the Titans received safety Tyree Gillespie for a conditional 7th-round pick in 2024. To make room for Gillespie on the roster, the team waived tight end Briley Moore. LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year, $97.1 million contract extension with the Lake Show. That includes a player option for the 2024-25 season. Mets 9, Braves 7. The loss snapped the Braves' 8-game winning streak. The final game of the 4-game series tonight with the first pitch at 6:20. And after a nearly 3-hour rain delay, Nolensville held off Middleborough, Massachusetts for a 5-3 win in Little League World Series play. Nolensville will play Santa Clara, Utah on Friday at 2 in a winner's bracket contest. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your own for the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 4 of the show this morning. We get better as we begin the fourth quarter. That's right. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster hanging out with you. Titans taking the practice field in just about a half hour. Buck Rising Show will be live there. But before that happens, thank you. We've got lots more to discuss as we get ready to preview the day's practice and also take a look at some developing news in college football. An interesting couple of days for college football, with Big Ten signing deals and a cabal of college football leaders meeting about a secession plan from the NCAA.
Man, you ain't handsome.
So this is an interesting story and something that I think is going to be something to follow over the next couple of days. We were talking about this in one of the breaks, Ramon. We are looking at a very real possibility that this is the first step, a small step, in college football becoming basically a minor league affiliate of the NFL.
It is. The way Thamo kind of set this up, and it wasn't a long meeting, was it? It was just
5 minutes.
A conversation about, hey, we got to do something and we need to do something. Like, this is going to turn into a G League, D League. I don't even know what to call it, Will, but it's
the CFP.
It's going, the CFP. That's who they're talking about governing it. Like, this may end up being a NFL commissioner type league, and it seems like, and we can say this too because he's been a guy that's been on the forefront of all of this, positioning himself a little bit with what he's done up until today. Greg Sankey, being a guy that kind of tried to lead this college football atmosphere into that world. He was king of the hill until today with this CBS Big Ten deal coming. As far as money, influence, power, and exposure, like the SEC still does its thing as it's going to. But if we speak about overall power of a commissioner, I know we're in the Southeast, but numero uno has to be Sankey, right?
Oh, there's no doubt.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
He's the reason why there was college football in 2020.
Yeah.
If Greg Sankey doesn't stand pat and wait and see what happens over the course of that summer, the Big Ten was out the door. Pac-12 was out the door. Greg Sankey's the reason why we played football in 2020. And it's almost like that was a wake-up moment for the Big Ten and Kevin Warren to say, now, wait a minute. We need to have a seat at the table and be in our best position to become the unofficial arbiters of college football.
Yeah.
Because at that point, Sankey had all the power. And he still holds the majority of the power. Because that guy's playing 4D chess and most other conferences are playing checkers. But for the first time, it feels like with the developing story we mentioned in the last hour of this $1 billion a year deal with the Big Ten and TV rights, that it feels like another conference over the course of this summer is starting to play the game at the same speed, or at least try to, as the SEC.
Yeah, they are, man. And the thing is, degenerates, the thing is, if, this knock sank in the SEC a little bit. It's not for long, Will, because you look at this situation, say the Big Ten got the bag. USC and UCLA was a huge part of that. They have a huge influence. They're over a whole lot of networks right now. It's almost as if it's what do you want to call it? A battle almost, Will. Not a war, but a battle, because you're saying this Big Ten deal is CBS, it's Fox Sport 1, it's who else is involved in this. There's a lot of other networks where they're spreading Big Ten ball around. The SEC has ESPN and its networks and its streaming and everything else that's involved in it, but that's cool nationally. But what matters most, though, Will, is results.
Yeah.
Is putting guys in the league, is playing in the national championship.
Winning championships, yeah.
Like, you say what you want to about it, that deal is friggin' phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
It's huge for the Big Ten. But all that exposure is fine. But tuning in and checking out who's a bad team in the Big Ten as of late. Rutgers.
Looking at you, Greg Schiano.
How do you justify them being on CBS? How do you justify them being a prime time? When are they a prime time?
This is how they vote, why they voted against their own self-interest and bringing in 2 more teams that are going to be ahead of them in the pecking order in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
It's because it's a bigger piece of the pie for you to compete with your neighboring rivals outside of your conference and to raise the prestige of your athletic department as a whole.
And can we say this too? We've learned the Big Ten is a educational type of conference too.
That's right.
That's huge as far as
Pac-12 the same way, always has been.
So that exposure to recruit coast to coast, well, some of those teams do, but I'm sure as a kid and let's say Long Beach that probably don't know too much about Rutgers.
Sure.
You know, there's a kid in Rutgers, New Jersey now that I have exposure, or his family will feel more comfortable where he go to USC if he's that good and he doesn't want to go to SEC to where he tell his mama, you can watch me.
Yeah.
I'm on the network here. I think the Big Ten network is still a part of that deal too.
Sure.
Yes, that's still a part of that.
It is.
So it's exposure more than anything right now.
Yeah, it is.
I see Cousin Dan in the Borough put on a Big Ten has better and bigger TV markets than the SEC. Population-wise, maybe. But quality is what we're speaking of.
Well, you have Chicago.
Yep.
You really kind of have New Jersey.
New York.
To an extent. New York a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't go too far with that.
Well,
and having Los Angeles now, too. And I mentioned it in the last segment.
You got to give it up to Columbus, too, because, they got the Browns, and nobody really pay attention to that.
I love how you found a way to make this about slandering the Cleveland Browns.
You might be a Cincinnati Bengals fan. You might be a Browns fan.
We do not care.
But your heart is with the Buckeyes, okay?
That's right.
We do not care.
Thank you.
We really don't at this stage.
No, I think it's a good point. And I said it in the last segment that we are currently in the biggest city that houses an SEC team.
Yeah.
Lexington, Kentucky is the second biggest city in the SEC.
Yeah.
When you talk about cities that have the university right there. Obviously Atlanta, Birmingham, but you don't have a school within the conference that calls that city home, despite the fact that you would call Nashville a Tennessee city, you would call Atlanta, Georgia, and Alabama city. Los Angeles and Chicago can say definitively, not only are we now Big Ten country, but it's in the backyard.
All right, you know what Los Angeles can do?
What's that?
Suck it.
Thank you. Interesting. That's interesting analysis. But the Pete Thamel article that furthers this conversation a little bit, I think, is interesting. Writing yesterday on ESPN.com that the 11 college presidents and chancellors who make up the College Football Playoffs Board of Managers met via Zoom on Monday and began a discussion that could reshape the future of college sports. Saying multiple sources tell ESPN that the Board of Managers briefly discussed the possibility of restructuring how college football is governed.
Yeah.
With the idea presented of major college football potentially being governed outside of the NCAA. Sources adding that the group spoke about the idea for only about 5 minutes as it was raised as something the group should think more about down the line. Your radar should be up when you hear someone like Pete Thamel say things like that.
Yeah.
Because this is how the conversation begins.
Mm-hmm.
It begins as an unofficial, informal conversation that someone is willing to put on the record.
And this is the other part. Who is actually reporting a 5-minute meeting?
Exactly. That means that there have been longer than 5-minute meetings that have happened with members of this group before, and now they're willing to say through back channels on the record in an off the record manner.
Yep.
Hey, this is happening. Be ready and don't be surprised when this starts trickling down.
And Pete, thank you. You got the green light. Go ahead and report this.
That's right.
That's pretty much what this is. There's a lot of questions behind this for me, though, Will, with this TV deal and also the idea. I want to know your perspective of it. You're a college athlete also, Will. Yeah. You had more freedoms than we did because football make you do stuff all year long.
Yeah, right. And we're the only sport that's in season year round.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's a little bit more lax than like
fall,
football,
winter, and spring. We are the only sport that doesn't have an off season.
But I'd like to know, as far as the NCAA goes, were you guys ever in those conversations about how you felt about the NCAA? Like, as with us being the big contributor to the budget on the university, like we were like, well, man, we're the ones bringing the money in. We get nothing. Like, how much did it matter that the SEC didn't justify paying guys?
So it's funny. To
you,
for those that don't know me and what I did, getting to know me, I ran track and cross country at Tennessee. It's funny. My freshman year was Alabama-Clemson national championship, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yes. No, that was my sophomore year. Either way, Alabama was playing for a national championship my freshman year. Of course. Yeah. This would have been 2016. And I remember getting to practice that morning, the day of the national championship game. And all the freshmen were looking at the seniors saying, like, all right, I can't wait. Like, we're going to cheer for Clemson. Like, obviously, like Alabama's playing.
Yeah.
And one of the seniors on the team looking at us and saying, see, you get a different perspective on that now because it's more money for the SEC if Alabama wins this. So I'm going for Bama. And so that was our conversation of like, hey, we're going to cheer for football because football is the reason why we are getting a new locker room next year and things of that nature. That's where I was when I worked for Rocky Top Insider. I was unofficially the non-revenue beat writer as a non-revenue athlete who loved baseball and
things haven't changed much
track
now.
And things like that. No, they have not. No, they have not.
Put them on a light pole, Shafe.
But it is interesting to kind of see how this could affect
his transcript.
The other part of the conversation for the other sports, because speaking of big TV deals, the NCAA tournament is a mammoth of a television deal with CBS and with the NCAA.
Yep.
And the NCAA is not just going to let schools walk away without trying to withhold that money from them. Yep. Let's get a break. Let's talk more about this when we come back and dive deeper into this Pete Thamel article and take a look at the next steps of this because, look, there are 5 or 6 reporters within college athletics that when they say something and when they say something is starting, it means that it's going to happen.
And Pete Thamel was one of those guys.
And Pete Thamel is maybe number 1 or 2 of those guys. We'll do that next. We'll dive deeper into this piece. It is Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey.
Oh, we're having fun here on a Thursday morning at 104.5 The Zone. Sometimes I really wish the people could hear the roasts that don't make air that Jonathan Schaefer says in my ear.
No, you don't want that.
I mean, there's White, there's Casper the Ghost, then there's Will.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Will Bollinger, Bo Foster, Jonathan Schaefer with you.
We've all adopted Mike Keefe's "Hey now."
You really have.
Okay.
So wait, we gotta. Yeah.
Ramon doesn't know.
Well, fill me in.
All
then.
right. So
I'm the wily vet in this situation.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
considering you just came out of the womb. Yeah.
Baby face.
Just got my license last
all right,
week, actually.
So the Hey Now actually started on what was called the Larry Sanders Show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was on HBO.
Okay.
That's the origin of it. It was popularized for decades on the Howard Stern Show. Where they go, hey now.
Okay.
But the original Hey Now is from Jeffrey Tambor on the Larry Sanders Show on HBO.
Well,
interesting.
That is Radio Nerddom 101.
Hey, teach me then. Mike Keefe says it so well.
Right, because
it's great.
Because that's also
great.
an Inside Zone / Titans radio thing too.
All right. Hey now.
Just like when we go, hey Jeff, we're not explaining that.
No, we're not.
That's just a work related.
Third down. That one's been making the rounds more on Buck Show too.
We did explain third down after the passing of the wonderful Mark Howard. We did explain that.
Yeah. So good. Grant Ramey with the tweet of the day today often does at Grant Ramey at 247 Sports Coval's 247 tweeting out a picture of. I'm retweeting this right now on my account at Will_Bowling. Says it's Step Brothers, which anything from Step Brothers is hilarious. And it's Will Ferrell sitting in the back, and he's got the SEC over his face. And it's CBS Sports as the mom driving the car. And it says, I'm not going to call him Dad. And CBS Sports says, I'm not going to expect you to call him Dad. And he says, well, I'm not going to ever, even if there's a fire. That is how we feel as SEC fans and people that live in this area of the country about the SEC on CBS Music now being a possible intro for Northwestern and Indiana.
What?
I mean, it could be.
Well, it doesn't. You know what happened if that's on TV?
What?
Any time of the year.
Yeah.
No matter how high they're ranked.
Right.
I'm changing the television.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I just need to
It could be
know.
1 versus 2, and I would literally go watch Mississippi State and Auburn.
I'd be asking for the basketball teams.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd rather you play basketball on grass. That's what I'm telling you. With this deal though, with CBS is struck with who are all the networks in? If you have it pulled up again,
So yeah, it is going to be.
Is this why the bag is so big too?
Yes,
because
it
it's
is.
not just CBS.
Because one network was not going to do $1 billion a year. But essentially what has happened is that 3 networks together have made it $1 billion a year. So you'll still have Big Noon kickoff on at noon to start off the window. National TV Big Ten Game of the Week on CBS.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a primetime kickoff game on NBC.
NBC. And Fox Sport FS1 is where in this? It's just under the umbrella?
FS1 is just the first game in the window. So it's in the umbrella. It will host the Big Ten championship game in 2023. And then that will become a rotating kind of network game for the years after that.
Gotcha, man. This is I really can't believe they pulled it together. But it should show you just in general the growth of the sport. We spoke about Pete Thamel's piece, man, as far as the NCAA football side of it, being managed by an outside entity, whether it's the CFP, whether it's a Roger Goodell type commissioner. There has to be a change, but I was teasing before the end of the break as far as the outlook of what the NCAA was.
Right.
Me personally, I have no sympathy for the NCAA. I appreciate them being the governing body to kind of set up the amateurism of scholarships. Heck, my kids will potentially go through that if they're good enough at some point. If not, heck, they better go to college and do something constructive in their adult lives. But with that being said, I remember going back to the, 2005, 6, 7, 8, and even more so when I was a pro, just saying to myself, like, yeah, we didn't get paid.
Right.
I walk outside and love my coach to death, but Coach Foreman's got a at the time, which is very expensive in the mid-2000s, a $60,000 Lexus sitting outside the practice facility. Not just that, he's got a truck, but all the coaches got dealer cars. They got nice cribs, but
Excuse me?
We're this is just the reality of college sports. I'm not knocking them because you're paid for your service.
Yeah.
They are coaches. They deserve to get paid. I'm full agreement of that.
Sure.
But the way the NCAA has handled this with money and funds and revenue and just dispersing the money however they needed to do, they didn't do it. So because you have a meeting of the minds that say, we're going to have to figure this thing out because it's getting too big. Because you have NIL right now and they're trying to put a cap on it when coaches don't have a cap. You got coaches that said, if this guy makes more than me, you have to automatically renegotiate my deal so I can make more than him. And you have guys that got suspended for driving a borrowed car, for taking a sandwich, for having a meal at a coach's house. You had coaches get fired behind
For
that.
having a McDonald's bag.
Hey, ongoing investigation there. But what I'm getting at is they had a long amount of time to feed off the beast, and they never paid the ones that was actually driving the machine, and it was the players. So because of that, ESPN, bite it is all I have. I mean, not ESPN, NCAA.
There you go.
Bite it.
Yep.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
There you are.
Y'all did this to yourselves.
So the Big Ten deal starts in 2023 with Fox, NBC, and CBS. It is a 7-year deal expiring in 2030 for a total of $8.8 billion, $1.1 billion a year. For comparison, the SEC's deal with ESPN begins in 2024. That is a 10-year contract expiring in 34 for $3 billion, $300 million a year. The college football playoff contract with ESPN is now just about half of what the Big Ten is getting on its own.
Wow.
The college football playoff deal with ESPN expires in 2026, 12-year contract worth $7.3 billion, an average value of $608 million. So where does this fit with this Pete Thamel piece? One other item that was discussed on this call of the college football playoff board of managers is the next iteration of the playoff, which could be put in place before the end of the current contract, which runs out after the 25 season. Source telling ESPN, the general feel among presidents and chancellors was that college sports leaders have left too much money on the table by not implementing a new playoff before 2026, perhaps as much as $500 million. You think Pac-12? Because the Pac-12 would still be existing long-term.
Yeah.
If they just went ahead and took the deal that was on the table back in the winter.
Gosh.
It is one of the biggest gaffes in the history of college sports, and that is not an exaggeration at this point.
They have to be sitting back. Like in reality, I think they're thinking to themselves, we'll be fine. You know, it's one of them, we'll reset, we'll be fine, but you know the market isn't going to go as high as it was for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I can make my money back and probably get back to zero. I might make, extra $100 on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and cash out and sell. Like, that's where they are as far as the Pac-12 goes. But how strong is that conference? Arizona, Washington, respectfully, Washington State. Which one did Kayla go to? Washington? Like,
Washington State.
Respectfully, because
Wazoo.
we know somebody from there. Oregon, like that's who's holding them up. And that's not super attractive. You do have Utah, and I say that respectfully, and boy, I hope they blast Florida. Please, Utah, deliver on that one. But there aren't a whole lot of teams that you're flipping the channel to go watch them. And it's also the time that they played their primetime games into that becomes a little bit of a bother. There's so many, I'm talking about awesome players that come out of those Pac-12 schools, Elijah Molden being one of them, right? Like you find yourself in a position to be like, man, they have the guys. It's just exposure of what that conference has kind of turned into. To whereas when USC in the early 2000s were having, those primetime 3:00 games for the East Coast and Central Time spots, they don't get that anymore. And that's because of the attraction to go there is down. And now the TV aspect of it too, Will, and they left that money on the table.
So who is on the College Football Playoff Board of Managers? It's it's presidents from all 10 major conferences and Reverend John Jenkins of Notre Dame. Of course, Notre Dame gets different treatment.
Of course.
It includes significant figures like Mississippi State President Mark Keenum.
You just bless their heart.
Clemson President, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Clemson President Jim Clements and Ohio State President Christina Johnson. So this is the CFP might become the new NCAA. Always got to have a snappy acronym.
By the way, I got a chance to take a tour of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
My school went out to Chicago for a larger trip.
You went to school? My bad.
Play the breaking news sounder, please.
My bad.
Hold on.
My bad.
No, hold on, everybody. Hold on. Wait.
Bleepy remote fault.
And this was during a period of time where they were pretty bad. And we had this tour guide, and she was all Notre Dame uppity and all that other stuff. And I went, hey, it's Field Goal Jesus. Didn't go well.
Field Goal Jesus.
Didn't go well.
Goodness.
I remember from there.
You know what I didn't say?
What?
I'm sorry.
I didn't.
You did not.
Didn't do it.
You should.
So
we do not care.
I have been to a Tennessee Notre Dame game in South Bend. That's right.
You were at that game?
I was at that game. You played in that game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was there.
The pink bathrooms. You remember when Inky folded Samardzija?
I did. I won the game 40-20, I believe.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The what bathrooms?
The visiting bathrooms are painted pink.
Yeah.
No doors on the stalls.
Okay.
And it's probably about the size of the studio.
All right.
There are 2 rooms about the size of the studio.
This would have been 41-21. That's what it was. 2005.
Yeah.
I was at that game. Nicest fans to a road fan that I have ever seen. Easily. Notre Dame fans. So we were parking, and it was me, my dad, and my brother. And we pulled up to park, and the guy shook our hand.
Wow.
Took our money and was like, hope you enjoy your visit to Notre Dame. We were like,
That's
no,
real.
hate me. Like, be mean to me.
No,
What's going on? I don't like this.
Weirdest thing about Notre Dame, and it is a beautiful place. It is.
It really is.
It really is.
That should be on everybody's list. If you're a college football fan, if your team plays there or not, go to Notre Dame and see it.
At the time, and I'm not sure if it's there now because I hadn't really had the interest to go check, but that was the first stadium we played in that did not have a video replay anywhere.
Yeah,
in
that's
it.
right.
You remember that?
That's right.
No video.
It was
replay.
just the little high school video board, basically, or video board, high school scoreboard they had in the end zone.
It was weird because even players that are playing on the field, they're looking up at the screen. What did I do wrong?
Like, what did I do wrong? Right?
Yep. You
wait, was that actually holding?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, no, there's that, and then that's the only other school that I've been to that, like Tennessee, their band before the game played the other team's fight song.
Yeah.
Because Tennessee always does this, and the Pride of the Southland Band always takes pride, pun intended, of it's one of the best bands in the country, and they always say, yes, it is. We're going to play your fight song better than your band does before the game. And Notre Dame actually did that too. They played they played down the field. They wouldn't play Rocky Top, but they played down the field, I believe.
Can you imagine they
before
played
the
Rocky
game.
Top?
I perked up, was like, hold on, wait a minute, that's Tennessee's music.
It was
like 8 years old.
When we played them in Knoxville, though, Justin Tuck, though, I remember watching him like, wasn't he? He's a Notre Dame guy, right?
Justin Tucker?
Justin Tuck.
Oh, Justin Tuck, yes.
Tuck. I remember seeing
yeah.
him though, and I have a lot of respect for Notre Dame. We're gonna trash them, you know.
No,
as far
I'm
as
the
that
same
goes.
way.
By the way, quick interjection. You know who's on the practice field right now?
Yeah, this was
Who's
just
that?
about to be. There's somebody, a Titan that's on the practice field right now too.
Oh, who's that?
Traylon Burks.
Hey,
Good
can
for
we
you,
get
young
the
man.
claps?
I was gonna save the. I was gonna say this at the very end of the segment, but yes,
You usually got to get a shot after you get that moment.
Traylon Burks is back on the practice field. Titans getting ready for day 2 of joint practices right now.
But Notre Dame, the respect factor though for their players,
Yes.
a lot of history to it. Like Will said though, as we jump off college football season, if you get an opportunity to take those travels, and that Indy drive ain't overly bad.
No, it's really not.
You'll be in for a treat to
Yeah.
go visit those different stadiums.
Absolutely. That was a fun trip. I'm hoping to get down to Baton Rouge this year and do that trip.
You want to go there?
Yeah.
I
do.
pass.
Because if there's ever a chance that Tennessee
we're
could
going,
have
we're going to Rocky Top for Florida,
we
boys.
are. We're doing Florida.
Yeah.
That's going to be
yes, sir.
freaking surreal. We
I
do
can't wait
Calhoun's
for this.
again. We need to set that up.
Do
don't
what?
we? Calhoun's?
I can smell the burnt ends.
we're going to Calhoun.
I can smell the burnt ends. I'm getting really hungry right now thinking about this.
You coming out to us to Calhoun's? Bro.
Oh, are you kidding me? Of course I am.
Grand old time.
Dude, we still got to find a place to stay, man.
I know a guy
Yeah,
that's
you guys
there.
get on that.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Hold that.
Am I that guy?
Well, you're never that guy. You're not that guy.
Wow.
You're not that guy. You
Interesting.
seen that video?
Oh, yeah.
That was a joke. You're not that guy. I don't know why that dude was so angry. Goodness.
Coming up, I want to get your thoughts on the biggest thing you're watching for today again.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my opinion as well because we are jetting over to St. Thomas Sports Park right at the end of the show here this morning.
Burning it down.
Coach Mack, I'm sure, will be there with us watching a little bit of the defense. That's right. Look, Coach Mack has been into air conditioning a little bit more this year. I haven't gotten to hear about an open versus closed defense with Coach Mack this year.
No, Coach Mack's just smart.
Yeah, well, yeah. But, like, I will be standing there with Mack watching practice typically, all the Titans radio crew, and he will quiz us of, is that man or zone defense? Man or zone defense? Go, 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 go. And if you get it wrong, it's you feel like
but I'd be
your
like,
heart's
Coach,
breaking.
it's 11 o'clock. I've been up since 3, bro. I don't even know where I'm at right now.
He disguised it so well, though.
But no, he and Rhett been up in the AC, and I'm just down there.
You know what, Will? That's the
peasants,
best view.
The lay people.
That's the best view, though. Up top,
it really is.
I mean,
phrasing.
Hey, dog.
We'll do that next. Final observations. Wrap up the show. Get you on your way.
Back at school.
Coming up next, 104.5 The Zone. Final segment of the show this morning. It is Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate you hanging out with us today. Special thanks to Coach Dave McGinnis, to Jason Swain for being our guests here this morning. And we will be back at it again for your Friday energy coming up tomorrow.
Finish the week off. Today is pre-Friday.
That's right. It's Friday Junior. Celebrate accordingly, please.
Friday Junior. Yeah.
Let's act like it, friends.
Well, today is historically in the last, 5-7 years where the Woo Girls coming to town.
Oh.
Just wait till you leave at the time we leave. Our appointment's being made at the Paddle Tavern across the street.
Right now.
Right.
They're trying to scope out. This would be a cute brunch spot.
Yeah.
Honey, you're not making it to Sunday brunch at 8 a.m.
It's all good. Yeah, that's all it is.
My least favorite thing about the Woo Girls and bachelorette parties is when they say, like, Nashville isn't ready. Nashville's never going to be the same. No, Nashville's ready. Nashville is fully ready for you and Stacy and Katie and Susie to come and drink too many vodka sodas.
And Zach Wilson's mom.
And not be able to function on a Sunday morning.
Zach Wilson's mom's friend.
Nashville is very, very ready. Like we as a city are going to be okay. We're going to be fine.
We going to be all right.
That's
in the
right.
words of Kendrick Lamar. I missed that concert, too.
Yo, that's such a good one.
I saw the visuals from it.
Such a good one. That album is great.
Yeah, I love that album.
But early reports from the practice field this morning, Traylon Burks is out on the field. He is not doing everything. He has a sleeve on his left leg and is participating in some individual drills, and others he is not participating in. So, something to monitor today. Of course, the Buck Rising Show out live at St. Thomas Sports Park today, and they will have the full report for you at the conclusion of practice once these things are made official and are able to be reported on. But open portion of practice continues right now, so allowed to comment on it at this point and give you that update.
Oh, no third field stuff?
For them. I don't think so.
Because if
No
it's
third
third field,
field
we
things.
can't report on it.
Jeez,
Third
Louise.
field.
Hold that.
Not third
basically.
down, third field.
Third field.
Coming up, though, over at St. Thomas Sports Park, Taylor Lewan stopping by the table today around 11:20. Mike Keith, voice of the Titans, will be on the Buck Rising Show live from St. Thomas Sports
You should
Park.
listen to him tomorrow when he's on with us.
There you go.
Absolutely.
What are you looking for today? I know we talked about this a little bit early on in the show, but knowing that information, knowing Burks is out there, we're headed over there in a couple of minutes. What do you want to see today?
Well, of course, Jeff response, I brought that up, or
Yep.
the response to Jeff. Like, Jeff, stay healthy, stay safe, don't be in the way. If you see it getting chippy, move. Too valuable, way too much on the line, man. Also, Austin Hooper, can him and Tannehill repeat again? We didn't talk a whole lot about this, and I don't know if it's neglect. I'm sure it'll be discussed at some point throughout the day, too. But Caleb Farley responds. Yesterday, the visuals didn't look great. We didn't get the whole horoscope of what it was. The way I saw him practicing his movements of breaking back to the ball on those receivers, it almost looked like the coaches told him, govern down, just get your reps, just get your feel. Again, he's coming off of this ACL. I'm not making an excuse for him. If that's how he look at 100% full speed, I'm a smidge worried about his development moving forward. It looked as if, though, the coaches said, get your reps, but give me 85, 80%. So I'm looking at that. And Malik, pressure, no pressure, stay in the pocket. And, again, I brought that point up to you too, Will, that, look, your passing is what's going to determine other people's jobs too. I know it's easy for you to bail out of that pocket, stay there, face that music, man. It's okay for you to make these mistakes right now. This young OL, watching how they're going to come together. And to me, that's the gist of what I'm really having my eyes on. I want to see Raidens bounce back. Akeem Hicks, I've been warning y'all all week since I knew he was signed to this Bucs team. He's a handful. He's a load. He's a guy that if he gets the opportunity to get you, you will get got.
Right.
And hitting Raidens got a couple of times. So that's where we're at right now.
I'm with you. The biggest thing I'm going to watch is Caleb Farley today. I want to see him be more like what he was on Monday when he was really good. Really good against the Titans offense and seeming to be really confident going up against these Bucs wide receivers. I want to see that continue. And what Mike Vrabel said yesterday, saying that he was not seeing yesterday what he had seen throughout camp so far. So I think that's going to be interesting. I think that it is something to monitor the way that defensive secondary plays because, look, Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask are far from Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's hard to really judge this Titans defense based on what they're doing against a very banged-up Bucs offensive line and two backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
One that's been a career backup and one that has been a young guy that is trying to learn how to be an NFL quarterback.
Well, I'll say this. You're going to face more quarterbacks like them than you will Tom Brady's, though. So that's the good part about that situation.
Right.
Meaning Tom could almost ruin the practice. You know, it's just like the way he's going to have those guys running routes and the way he, maneuvers around the pocket and not outside of the pocket, but he could ruin practice whereas, man, we can't stop him,
Yeah.
So having a realistic approach that is more Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert out there than it is Tom Brady, obviously, is a good way to have practice go for you in a joint setting because you get Kyler next week.
That's right.
You get two of these.
It's going to be a little different.
It's going to be a little different, so.
Buck Rising asking the important questions this morning on Twitter.
Oh, that's a
What?
In his poll questions.
Mark that down on the calendar.
Hold that.
Who would you pick to represent the Titans in a joint practice brawl, Jeffrey Simmons or Derrick Henry?
Oh, what? You mean how we talked about that 2 days ago?
Man,
Did you really
don't fight nobody out there.
Did you really?
Not really an athlete.
Shave has zero filters, baby, but it's all out of love.
Somebody tagged the FBI.
They tag him.
Why are you tagging FBI? They got enough on their hands right now. Come on, dog.
Oh, man, I love it. Fun show here
Federal
this
Buck
morning.
investigators.
Ramon and Will for 4 hours with you. Look, I can tell you for certain, with this combination right here, we are going to bring it 4 hours a day.
Yeah, buddy.
And that is our promise to you. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Hope you will choose to do so again in the morning. Back at it again at 6 a.m. We are headed to Titans practice. But tomorrow, Ramon Foster, the show will continue.
Let's keep it rolling, Will.
And
See you Friday.
What's that, Ramon? Remember?
Your Twitter fingers and your mic and your camp fights is always hot.
See ya.